Q&Asa. Game on Daily.
Welcome to the world of Q&Asa, where the past, present and future of gaming converge, and it's a really happy, nice place because games are awesome. I'm a little bit nervous because all of the talk everywhere is about Starfield, and I've not played Starfield, so this whole show is going to be very reliant on you to help me out and keep this conversation flowing, as we always do. So if this is your first time here, we never get into it until we've had a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor today is Game on Daily, website, platform, news aggregator, social thingamathing that does all the stuff. You've got Starfield reviews and news of all varieties from all of the different gaming platforms. So check that out. Talk to people there if you can, and keep an eye on it as it develops into the future, which I keep saying every week. It really will at some point, or it will die. One or the other is definitely going to happen. Hopefully it'll develop into the future. That's it. That's our word from our sponsor. Let's have a little look at who's already here. Replicant, hello. Episode 13, your bloody sponsor. Episode 13, the sponsor does not give me money. The sponsor is me. It is me and it's Gaz, because it is Game on Daily as a website. So the sponsor is critical. You have to listen. It is not a devastating ad read that you're supposed to try and skip ahead on. Yeah, I know it's a joke. I'm all good with it. Don't get me wrong. Tom, welcome along. Pizza's here. Painful discourse with a Wii, I'm sure. Not like the console Wii, although that's welcome as well. Alex, I'm going to speak words of wisdom on Starfield and then get GeForce Now to play better games than Starfield. Yeah, Starfield's not on GeForce Now, unfortunately. Doesn't look like it's coming anytime very soon. But it would be nice if it were. Socks are non-essential for this show. Welcome, Dion, as well. And anybody else that I've missed, I apologise if I've missed your names there. I was a little bit late today. Baz, I've missed you. Sorry, Baz. Welcome. No Man's Sky 2 reviews are out. Very controversial take, Tom. Do you know, I'm going to show you. This has thrown me off a little bit. See my little screen here? This is YouTube. And I had a notification come from YouTube from the Meme Fist, who said, Gabriel, so your whole channel is just hating Xbox without any objectiveness, so it's kind of hard to take your opinion seriously. What? Is that true? Is that... have you all come here to, hear me hate on the Xbox? Is that a thing that I do on this channel? I've had some thumbnails that might be slightly controversial. The thumbnail lady likes to hate on Xbox. I'm pro Xbox mostly. I like a lot of things that Xbox are doing, so I was surprised to see it, but also oh no, what is my channel? Am I one of them? Am I inadvertently console warring? I'm not trying to. Pro Consumer and Xbox have done a lot of good things this generation. Yes, they have. Crafty Martin, I haven't seen that name along. Good evening and welcome. South Mole as well. Platform agnostic. Yes, I don't believe in any of the platforms. I don't believe that we can possibly understand what the platforms are. I just believe that there are games to be played. No, that's not what agnostic means, I'm aware. Can you go and antagonize the commenter? I can't stop you, Isla. You have agency. You can go where you want. You can do what you want. Please don't reply as me, which you have the power to do, but I'd rather you didn't. I am on top chat, and I'm going to change that to make sure that I don't miss any more of the stuff. I can't. There's wires in the way. My wire is short, and I can't quite reach to get a clean area of mouse mat to Oh, I know why. It's because I'm using the wrong PC. Downside of having so many PCs in one place. Mass Effect music and Halo Infinite background. You are sharp. You weren't the first one to spot the Halo Infinite background, but you're the first one to get the Mass Effect music. Mass Effect isn't the first time either. I've had this one before. I slacked today. So most weeks I have a fresh OST and let people try and guess it. I forgot to set up an OST and I panicked at 9 o'clock. And I saw that I still had the Mass Effect one installed from a previous show and thought, you know what? That's got to, thematically, that's got to fit the eve of Starfield, right? Halo's going to have similar music, not Halo. Them games we were talking about, Mass Effect and Starfield, similar vibe. You go into space. I know that much. Good game is a good game no matter where you play it, plain and simple. And a bad game is also a good game if you happen to like that kind of thing. I don't know. It's all fine and good. Trust my knowledge and I have a good heart. I would say I wouldn't oversell my knowledge, but in a way that I think is quite important. A lot of people will speak on things with absolute knowledge that they don't necessarily have, knowledge and authority that they don't have. I'm very quick to explain if I feel that I don't have any like grounds or standing to actually make a particular point. I will be very clear about that. Very clear, because otherwise what's the point? So you get that here. You get that here. Good knowledge or balance takes. You know it. You brain box. No, not a brain box. Not a brain box. Twitter is full of qualified experts. All of the places, everywhere that you go, everyone's a qualified expert, or like seems to believe that their words carry more weight than they do. I know that my words mean nothing, and I'm very quick to remind everybody else. My words mean nothing. Don't listen to me. Don't take me too seriously. I am just a sexy goldfish. Yes, episode 13. Yes, I'm awkward. Thank you very much. I take that one as a compliment. So let's do what we always do. We're going to get into our welcome, Dave Mack, as well. Your review score for this channel is 7 out of 10. I will send you branded underpants within the next 2 weeks and ask that you revisit your review and give a fresh, unbiased perspective if you like them. So this is how the show goes. It's conversational and weird. There's lots of gaming topics to go through, but the format of the show is I'm just saying stuff. You're all saying stuff in chat. No, not stained, Peter. Not stained. You're all in chat. You talk to me, you talk to each other. We have this nice little back and forth. We have a conversation. If that's not good enough for you, if you need other ways to have your voice heard, then you've got options. So number one is talking in the YouTube chat, and we'll have this back and forth. Number two is you can send a question into the Q&A box. So YouTube, when Isla's back from wherever she's gone, YouTube will present a little Q&A box. You can stick whatever you want in there. It's called a Q&A box, but you don't have to put in a question or an answer. You just put anything that you want in there besides a riddle. At the end of the show, we go through those one by one. So everything that you put in there will be read and addressed in some capacity. Option number 3 is there is a Discord server, the Game On Daily Discord server. If you want to come on and show your face or just your voice, jump on the Game On Daily Discord server, stick yourself in one of the waiting rooms, waiting room B, waiting room 2, or waiting room Knuckles in the little Q&Asa category, and we'll bring you in for a couple of minutes to talk to me and everyone else. And option 4, I didn't consider this, I haven't set a price, it's Starfield Eve. It's a big day in the world of gaming, so we can probably go $2,700. So for a minimum price of $2,700 or the equivalent currency in your region, you can send a super chat and I'll read that out loud, and we'll all take note of your special super chat for $2,700. If it's any lower than that, I'm just going to ignore it and treat it like a normal comment. But 782 is not going to get you far this week, episode 13. So it's not a big discount. This is the highest it's been so far. Free Bear, welcome. There's a name I haven't seen before. Am I going to play Starfield today? You plan to in a few hours. Can't stay long. That's fair enough. I appreciate you coming by and saying anything, being here at all. Starfield is available in this country at 1 o'clock, which is 4 hours from now. I'm not going to play it at 1 o'clock. I'm probably going to play it tomorrow evening. Gonna try. Cheap as chips. Oh, Dave, I can do special like special higher pricing for you if you're feeling wealthy. There's no upper limit on the super chat. Minimum is 2,700, but you can go as high as you like, and I will still read it. So, you know, how about it? Pazza, welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing? It's been a little while. How's everyone doing? Let's go through the start of the show like we normally do and talk about games before we get into... There's not that many topics today, to be fair. It's mostly Starfield centered and all the rest of it, as you'd expect. A little bit of PlayStation subscription pricing and all the rest of it. But before we get there, always a bit of talk about games. So, games and temperatures. Yes, you're cold. I suggest getting warm, or whatever temperature you so desire. Thanks, Silo. That does sound like something I would say randomly in response to comments on the channel. I'll do a cameo. What kind of cameo? If you pay me 3k, make him say that I love Xbox and swims in the sauce. No, you need to pay a little bit more for cameos, but I'll read it if you pay that much. Barry, don't I want a continuation to Infinite Story or a reboot, God forbid. I would like to see the story continue. I'd also like to see them work backwards. So Halo Infinite, I don't know why it's back out today, it just is. The campaign did some things well and some things badly. I would like to see it taken forwards, and I would also like to see it taken backwards to properly round off Halo 5. So Halo 5 to Halo 6, they obviously dropped what was supposed to be a trilogy, did a soft reboot, left some big holes to get there. But I really like certain things that Infinite does with the Chief's character. So I don't really want them to do a complete reboot and start it again. I think there's salvageable stuff there, and I'd like to see where they were going to go with the story despite certain flaws in that campaign. You have a montage. A montage of what? And what's a conspiracy? This is very confusing. YouTube hates you seeing all the comments. Yes, it is hard to find them. I reminded you to pay your credit card. What, by telling you how much the super chat is? Yes, pay off your credit card and then spend it all on a big super chat. Cyberwoke done everything just about. Think that it for you with that game. What? Cyberwoke. That's an interesting one. I've never particularly heard anyone refer to Cyberpunk as being like a woke game, as it were. But have at it. Have at it. I like Cyberpunk, but I'm very much waiting for Phantom Liberty before picking that up and carrying it on. Replicant, you finished Armored Core 6, so you are more of a fan than Tony Okami, who has not done that yet. Let's go. Yes, Danny Passion Official. You don't need to yell my name though. A lot of people do that. I don't know why. Because it's so short, people go, well, it must all be capital letters. And there it goes. What does ASA stand for? ASA is actually just my name. It is whole name, nothing but a name. Doesn't stand for anything. You heard that Tony was stuck on the first boss. I heard that he was actually still stuck on the second mission of the game. He's not quite reached that boss level yet. He's struggling. He's grappling with the controls. That's Tony. He's just, even though the game has like an auto lock-on system, he's somehow not got the accuracy to see it through. I'll see the chat and lower it. Hang about. What am I lowering? I'm lost and confused. Chat's moving quickly. I'll do my best to keep up, but just have at it. Keep throwing things. Like I say, if I miss them, you've got other avenues to explore. You've got the Q&A box. You finished Immortality. How long did that take you? I really wish that I could finish that before it leaves Game Pass. Or at least get to like the boob sections. But I can't, there's no time. And it's going to drop off really soon. I think it might even be today. Right before Starfield launches, but I don't know if that means like early access launch, or if it's going to drop in the middle of the week. And you've been playing Assassin's Creed 6. We can't have this every week. Every week there's like Assetto Corsa 6 talk. Asheron's called 6 talk. Ace Combat 6 talk. Every week you have to be specific, Painful Discourse, even though I know exactly what you're talking about. Do I? I do, yes, Armored Core. Barry, you played Cyberpunk near launch on the Xbox Series X and you loved it. Phantom Liberty looks dope. Phantom Liberty looks really good. Cyberpunk is in a much better place now than it was at launch as well, so hopefully it'll be worth revisiting for you. You've been playing more Immortals. You're about 7 hours into it now. Is it good? It's not really like other games, is it? I don't know much about it whatsoever, except that I know Richard Hogue, really, really likes that game and is always recommending that people play it. And I've been swayed and want to play it. IGN sucks ass! And swallows. Yeah, we'll get to Starfield reviews in a little bit. Games first. Tom, the second to last boss in Remnant 2 is a massive difficulty bump. Failed to complete it in the first run before Starfield due to that bell end. Have you done it now? Are you past him? Are you expecting that the difficulty is going to drop back off after that boss? Or is that just the level you need to be at now? And also, is Remnant a game where when there is a difficulty bump, you can like gear through it? Or do you need to up your skill level? Animal Crossing 6, that's the other one, thank you. I have, this shouldn't work at all. I had it yesterday and I've got it today. I have an apple pie hot chocolate, which is an absurd mix. Those things don't go together. You don't put chocolate on an apple pie, and yet this drink is delicious. You had no time to play tonight, so you haven't beaten him. What are you going to do though, Tom? Are you gonna improve yourself or your character? Can you make your character stronger to get through that spike? Who the hell gives a 7 out of 10 and then says they want to go in for 100 hours more? I'm assuming that's what IGN have said. Immortality was good and unexpectedly creepy and weird. Good, but it's like it's an FMV thing, isn't it? Like a live action. I don't even know how the decisions and clicking works or how you interact with that game, but as far as I'm aware, it's live action and quite different to other things. But it might also be part of detective game, so I'm not sure I would actually like it if I got to it. I just should have got to it. But I didn't, and it's too late now. Ah, there you go, Tom. There's how you do it. You don't need to improve yourself or your character. You just need to grovel, and Replicant will swoop in and carry you through. That's nice. Maybe a case of both. All of the bosses so far you could gear through, but there's an element of get good with this one as well. Oh, that's episode 13 just come in and reminded me that Sea of Stars is there as well, and that's supposed to be really, really good. And also pretty long. Ah, so many things. PS Plus hike, yes, we'll get to that as one of the topics in a bit, Baz. We will get PlayStation Plus hike. Oh, there's a question, Tom. How do you know that boss is the second to last? You're not using guides, are you? Because we don't do that here. It's illegal. You must lash your back, and I can't remember what them things are called, you know. Crafty IGN, the first and third letters of... Yeah. Yes, can't spell ignorant without IGN. You used to trust them, but not for a long time now. And trust is something that we'll get to in a little bit as well. Not just around IGN, but broader conversation. Certain things that I revisit quite often are going to come up today. I revisit them because I haven't quite got everything resolved or reconciled. Did I come up with that? No, I didn't come up with that. I've seen that many times, I'm afraid. I don't come up with letter-based funny things. Does the New Zealand strat work for Starfield? You know, Dave Mack, I didn't think that it did because I saw a list of staggered times saying what time you could play it in each region. That kind of implied that it was a global rollout. But then in Todd Howard's own message internally at Bethesda, he says that you can do the New Zealand thing. He's suggesting it to the staff there, that New Zealand will let them play today. ACG loves the game, apparently. We can trust him. Wow, we'll get to trust in a bit. But it's not a secret. I would say yes over ACG in particular for reviews. I have no reason not to trust him, and his reviews are usually very in line with my own opinions. Not always, but usually. The New Zealand trick doesn't work. See, I didn't think that it did until Todd Howard suggested it to his own staff. He should know, right? Well, maybe not. Global release all at the same time. Just you that's not paying for the Starfield upgrade. Let's have a little show of, I don't know, random key. Hit S if you've got pre-order. No, S is a terrible key. What am I talking about? Just tell me. Have you paid for the premium early access, or are you waiting until launch date, or are you not playing it at all? We can use whole words. We don't need to do single character things. Would have been nice and handy to get a response, but I fucked it up, so we'll use whole sentences. Episode 13, waiting for Game Pass. Dave, you've already got it. More. Dion, you're not playing it at all. Baz, you can wait. Craft is going to wait. Luap is a liar. Filthy liar. I appreciate that. Yes, I will probably be streaming it tomorrow, I think is the plan. Could have done a poll. The polls conflict with the Q&A. You can't have a poll and a Q&A open at the same time. Sarah Grant, you tried the New Zealand trick a few times today for the first time ever. It didn't work. You've got the pre-order, so you're ready to go. Yeah. So I still have this this slight Starfield dilemma between like Steam version and Xbox version in terms of early access, because I want to play it in VR eventually, and I don't know where that's going to work. Steam being the safe bet and Game Pass being the already available bet. So I might end up with it everywhere, especially if my buddy Replicant is able to to help out with that. You've paid and you're on it after work tomorrow. Yes, I'm going to be on it after work tomorrow. Barry, am I playing Baldur's Gate 3? Yes, I play Baldur's Gate 3 with Isla in chat and my wife who's in the other room. We stream that usually twice a week, although I don't think I'm going to stream it tomorrow. That's probably news to Isla. Fuck is word of most days. It comes up a lot. Yeah, I really like Baldur's Gate 3. Having a lot of fun with it. It's really difficult, at least for our little group. Really difficult. It's not heartbreaking. Yeah, exactly. Episode 13. We are useless. And somehow, like, just about still alive. Our Baldur's Gate 3 sessions, without fail, are like 2 hours of struggle. Serious struggle where we're just on the verge of death. Usually me and Isla are already dead. And my wife is very carefully considering how to keep the party vaguely alive, so we don't have to reload a save or anything like that. And so far, we haven't completely wiped out, but it is constantly like really thin thread between life and death. You don't like change, you like routine. Look, Starfield's out tomorrow, and also I'm not sure if my wife is available tomorrow. I do a good job of keeping track of her whereabouts, but she was considering not being available tomorrow. So you want me to stream Starfield? Starfield's a tricky one to stream because there's a lot of people here that have already said they want to wait to play it themselves. And me personally, I don't watch. I've not read any of the Starfield reviews. I'm not really watching any of the trailers or anything, or listening to what anybody has to say about it, because I want to experience it for myself. And like, on the one hand, I don't want to ruin it for people that are watching it, but on the other hand, you're all grown up, right? You can just choose not to watch it if you don't like it. I'm not going to be hurt by that, because I would do the same thing myself. So if anyone doesn't want to watch me play Starfield, tough. I insist. You must be here and watch every minute of it. You must absorb all of the details. No, of course not. That doesn't make any sense. That would be silly. So yes, that'll be tomorrow, I think. The couple of reviews that you have seen have been good and spoiler-free. Should hope so too. So I've obviously glanced some scores and overall sentiment around Starfield, but we're not on Starfield yet. We're doing games still, because I haven't told you what I've been playing, right? Michael M, you're going to wait for bug fixes. That could be an endless game. What's going to be the trigger point that makes you go, yeah, I'm ready for it now? How do you know that enough bugs have been fixed? Because there's always going to be something in there. Peter, you watched Colt and Rand's reviews. They were spoiler free, and I bet they both liked the game, huh? I have not seen their reviews. I saw Rand's thumbnail. I've not seen Colt's thumbnail. I'm sure that they're both nice reviews. I'm sure they've put a lot of time and attention into editing them, especially Colt. Like, he's a video producing wizard, so I'm sure he's done a very nice one. But I can't watch it because it would just be taken away from my own experience of the game. The bugs are not that bad. We'll see. I'm sure I can find some. I do like to play fairly chaotically though. They had some criticisms, but overall positive. That is good. And Dave, you're going to be playing at the same time, still watching, so quite a few people willing to wait. I think for me, I'm not like in a hurry to get through the game by any stretch. I could definitely, off my own back, I could definitely wait until next week. But it is the conversation at the moment, and I'm supposed to be able to talk about things that are current. So I think I probably kind of have to play it before Saturday, really. Plus, I do want to. It's Starfield, it's exciting. ACG's review is the only one that you've seen. It's worth watching just for the intro. Might watch the intro after I've played a bit of the game. I can go back to it and check it out. Catch you later, Lord. Not game breaking bugs. I bet I can break the game. It's not supposed to be the intention, but I like to prod systems and see. Is Starfield full price? It is full price. It is on Game Pass still. And you mentioned you're not planning to play it. Are you just not a fan of Bethesda games in general? Episode 13, Starfield is massive. The stories you've heard from people on shows and stuff are all different and unique. It does get you excited for the game. Yeah. I will watch I'll watch the first 30 seconds. That is no problem. Can your old laptop run Baldur's Gate 3, i7 8th gen 6 core, RTX 2060 with 16 gig of RAM? I think it probably can. I don't know the minimum spec off the back of my hand. I know that the reason that we couldn't run it on my wife's laptop was that she didn't have that 16 gig of RAM. You have got it. The rest of the specs are probably fine for it. Reckon you will be all right to play it, but if you're not, GeForce Now is very, very good as an option for Baldur's Gate 3. Episode 13, it's not a snowman, it is a ghost. It is a ghost with a nice hat. Because it's nearly Halloween. Obviously it wouldn't be a snowman in like end of August. That would just be a weird choice. Peter, you want to play the Star Unseen. Your biggest fear is not that the game isn't great, but that you will, as usual, restart the game a million times because you made bad decisions. You might need a primer. No, you have to make the bad decisions and roll with them. That's part of the fun. Hence my Baldur's Gate 3 run is such an ongoing catastrophe. It's the spooky hot chocolate. Exactly, thank you. No, episode 13, I'm afraid Isla's confirmed it is a ghost. Australian snowman. A snowman is a ghost made of snow. Thank you, Painful Discourse. So everyone is in favour of this being a ghost mug. GeForce Now is not an option. Fiber optic internet in Iraq is awful for cloud. Yeah, I've got no idea if their servers are anywhere near you. So GeForce Now very well could be a terrible idea. I apologise, I rescind that suggestion. Your laptop should be fine though, I think. Look, episode 13. I'm not going to argue with you about this anymore. It's my show. It's a ghost. I am Brew advert. I'm lost now. TV's confusing. So, what have I been playing this week? You've all been playing various things. The Remnant 2 I'm going to get to that at some point one day. I played a little more Firewall Ultra on the PlayStation VR and I still cannot get into it. There are mistakes in that game. I reckon it might be worth revisiting in a couple of months, but for now, it's a weird choice to try and bastardize control schemes into virtual reality with a whole load of waiting time that is also not a good fit for virtual reality. Waiting around for games to start isn't fun in that environment. Even more so than on Pancake Games. So I've played a very little bit of that, but not very much, because it needs to get better. Tanny Passion Official, you know the rules, sir. That is not $2,700. I will wait for the remainder before addressing what you've said there. I won't. I'll read it, of course I will. Thank you for the $2. I am grateful, really. It just makes me really uncomfortable, and it's not something that you need to do to be able to talk here. So, is it fair to compare Starfield with Baldur's Gate 3? Is it fair to compare Forza Motorsport to Starfield? Yes and no at the same time. It's not a direct comparison in that they are not the same kind of games. They're not trying to do the same things. They're not directly going head to head in any way whatsoever, except where they are. Where they are is in terms of competing for our time. Time is a finite resource, and all of us only have a certain amount to spend on games. Time and money, obviously. I only have a certain amount to spend on games. So you can pit them head to head and decide which one appeals to you more and make your comparisons if you're looking at which one you want to play, because that's fair and reasonable. What doesn't make sense is to say like, well, I don't know, one of them's got a better story than the other. Like, they're clearly different. One of them's a better game than the other because it's got any particular mechanics that the other one is not shooting for. And they're both like RPGs, and there's a few points where you can say, oh, maybe this one does dialogue choices and consequence better than the other one. But that's just one small facet of both games. So of course you can compare things, but you can also get really disingenuous and make bad faith comparisons if you're a wanker. Fortunately, that's not us. It's winter here in Oz, 14 degrees, 6:30 a.m. Still a bit warm for a snowman. Wow, this is a warm ghost. It's filled with apple pie hot chocolate. Whereabouts am I based in the UK? Near the bottom of it, south of London, in a little village. I'm allergic to compliments and gifts. Yes. Gifts under $2,700. Yes. Episode 13, you need to calm down. You're getting a little bit feisty. What does wanker mean? I'll allow other people in chat to explain that one for you. You heard it in the Fable trailer. The Fable trailer, yes. Playground are based in England, so they use the same slang. So, what else have I played? I've actually played a fair amount of Gran Turismo still, which some people shit on and frown and go, oh, it's a terrible game. And those people aren't wrong. It's a terrible game, but it's also a brilliant game. It's fun to drive around in Gran Turismo. It has the opposite problem with Firewall Ultra in that it doesn't keep you waiting around. Very quick and very slick to just get in a car and drive around. And when you're in the car, it's really nice. So, episode 13, you are west of Glasgow. No, you're not. You're from the West Country. You're the farmer. Who was I thinking that's from Scotland? I'm not doing locations. I'm really bad at any kind of geography. West Country farmer, yes. Did I mention Discord today? Yeah, I did. We can try Discord again at some point. It was a bit of a disaster last week with not working, but Replicant, I know that you're up there, but there was someone else as well, I'm sure of it. Never mind. You're in a very small city that's very beautiful. That's nice. Like, it's rare around where I am to hear anyone talk positively of the place that they live. So for you to be able to say that the city that you live in is very beautiful, that's like all warm and fuzzy like my snowman ghost. I mean, hot chocolate ghost. Warm and fuzzy. Nice to hear. Nyla, you like where you live? Yeah, but I don't like where you live, so that negates it. I slipped up. I did slip up. And you caught it. That's unfortunate. What else have I been playing? Immortals of Avium. Dennis, welcome again. Welcome again. Immortals of Avium. Terrible name because I don't know how to say it despite having played it for a while. The characters have probably named referenced it as Avium or Avium during the story, but the characters are kind of boring, so I've not paid any attention to them. I played that a bit on stream yesterday. It's a bit unstable. Crashed both times that I've played it. It's got real heavy emphasis on voice actors, motion capture, and asset quality. So everything in there is rendered to a really high standard. But I'm not sure, the individual bits of art are really high quality, but the overall picture doesn't quite come together for me. So you like where you live, and I doesn't know it, so I can't not like it. Well, Peter, I've been lots of places, so you never know. I might actually know it. I might have a really strong opinion of the place that you live. Aquasulis, I don't know, never heard of it. Is it wet? Or is the name a lie? Oh my goodness, you called me a noggin. That's relatively polite, I'll accept that. So that was Immortals of Avium, which is too expensive for what it is. Despite that's a bit harsh. There's clearly a lot of budget and effort put into various areas of it, but also it's not harsh. It shouldn't be 70 quid. Tom, you like a lot of places. Do you like the place that you live though? About I slipped in melted snow. That might be a true story, I'm not sure. Painful discourse, you live rent-free in your enemies' heads. How many enemies have you got? Who here has lots of enemies? Goldfish, yeah, probably. That's it. Have I played anything else this week? If anybody could fill in the gaps, because I am a goldfish and I have forgotten what I played this week. Usually I stream... Oh, Baldur's Gate. Obviously I played Baldur's Gate this week. Welcome, Lost Boomer. How are you doing, sir? Are you still singing into the Twitch? You know, into the Twitch. PC, you live in Gloucestershire, but you don't talk like a pirate. You could. I could be polite. Just call in on the Discord and talk like a pirate just for a minute. But no, you don't have to. What you been singing, Lost Boomer? Free Bear, you live in the desert close to El Paso. Fancy. And you like it there. I have definitely never been there. So, air conditioning everywhere, I hope. I would definitely require a lot of air conditioning to go that way around. Yep, and up. I'm not sure what that means. International Talk Like a Pirate Day is coming up. I see. I just needed to read a couple of lines up. International days aren't for taking seriously. We can talk like pirates whenever we want, but mostly when we play pirate games. Speaking of which, did anybody have any intention to play that Shadow? What was the Shadow game with pirates that the studio shut down and it was really sad? Shadow Pirates. I'm going to search for Shadow Pirates. No, damn it, there's a game called Shadow Pirates. Shadow Gambit, maybe? Shadow Gambit, Cursed Crew. That's the game. I'm going to briefly bring up, ACG won't mind because its reviews are the ones we all appreciate and respect. This is a game that came out in the last couple of weeks and it looks neat and I want to play it in the way that there are many games that I want to play. But it wasn't successful and the studio shuttered. It has been one of those weeks where a few studios get shut down and it's sad news. The other one being Volition, who made the Saints Row game. Which I'm less keen to play, to be honest. But this one, I would like to play this, and I will try to get round to it at some point in the next couple of years. And it won't do them any good because the studio has already had to fold. Which is sad. They got kind words from Larian and all the rest of it as a quality studio with quality developers. Hopefully they will land on their feet and work on similar kind of games in other studios that make them. Such as the aforementioned Larian. Air conditioning is required, yeah. So I've got I have an old school friend who lives not too far away from you in Southern California. But he's got family, well, his wife and family pretty close to you, I think, so I might be round that way at some point one day. It's been a pending plan for a long time. A memory pirate game, ages 3 to 5. What? This is why you've got enemies painful discourse. You've lost your mind. What's happening? Or is that something that was just on the screen that I completely missed? Lost Boomer, you're trying to sleep, but you're too hyped for Starfield. Are you going to be trying to get it the moment it's available? In like 3 hours time, are you going to be trying to jump on Starfield then? I would like to, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to have to wait until like 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow. Not sure exactly what time. That's kind of dependent on the wife's plans for the evening. Right. Yeah, you're going to be playing it and streaming it. It's going to be a lot of people streaming it. And quite a lot of people interested, so always a difficult one for streaming in terms of picking what kind of content to stream. And you're at work at 5 AM. Oh, Oh, you should probably go to sleep now, dude. Like, just get a couple of hours so that you can get on at 1, play a little bit before work. Dennis, you don't think it's because the game didn't sell? It's pretty much 100% paid for by the German and European Arts Fund. According to them, it's because of the health of the founders. Oh, that's even more sad. Like, I didn't see the reasoning in that regard. I saw nice messages from THQ Nordic, who published Desperados 3 for them, or who commissioned them to make Desperados 3, I guess would be more accurate. And I saw kind words for the developers from Larian, but I didn't actually see the reason for the closure. So even more so, hopefully, like, everyone there lands on their feet, finds new work, and those founders, I can't speak to what their issues are, besides hoping for the best, you know. I'm actually an AI bot. That would be nice. Would that be nice or would that be bad? I imagine it would be easier to live forever as an AI bot, and easier to, yeah, be preserved. I might try for that. Illegal Dad, why am I an AI bot? I turn into a pumpkin past 12:30. Episode 13, that's going to get worse from next week. For now, I've been quite slack on it. Not doing a good job of sleeping when I'm supposed to. But once the kids are back at school, well, I'm going to have to be more strict on it. On my own sleep times. That's lame. I just want to play Starfield all night, every night. And Red Dead Redemption 2 if I can ever get that bastard working. Used to do that back in the day. Yes, like I'm fairly nocturnal. I think the old video games turned me nocturnal. When I was a like school-age teenager, I would be up till 3 or 4 every morning playing Final Fantasy 7 or whatever the game of the moment was, Quake 3 Arena, until silly small hours. And that's still what my body wants to do. So we get to 12 and I very rarely actually want to stop. I would like to keep playing games until 3 or 4. Did I reinstall Red Dead? I did, Replicant. I have reinstalled it. I've moved it to a different drive. I've verified everything. I've reinstalled my NVIDIA drivers. I have not done a clean install or a DDU wipe of my drivers because the HDR configuration that I've got on my PC is so finicky that I don't want to wipe all of my settings just for Red Dead Redemption. I've also I've downloaded like the Vulkan SDK separately. Tried to do a separate install of Vulkan to get that to kick it out, but nope. It is not wanting to play. So I'm kind of stuck waiting for I figure there'll be an NVIDIA driver, a new driver within the next, I thought it would be today actually. I thought it would be in time for Starfield, but they haven't done a ready for Starfield driver yet. So I'll give that a go within the next week. I'm the only person who can land on a gas giant. Well, we shall see. I don't think Starfield's going to let me attempt it, is it? But we shall see. Starfield driver came out last week. When I look at the old GeForce Experience thing, it doesn't mention Starfield on that driver. Maybe I'm wrong. Wait a minute, you saw a tweet. Welcome, Spriggan, by the way. Starfield driver's already out. It came out a couple of days ago. I'm going to have to look into that carefully. Hang about. Who will make the most realistic genital ship? Depends, Tom. Which kind of genitals are we going for? We can make both. And it won't be me. It won't be me. Or will it? Or will it? I will, when we're done here, I'll boot up Baldur's Gate and I'll do a thorough study. So I know what I'm making. That tweet was so dumb. What tweet? It's time for a hot drink. You best not pour a snowman. Ah, yeah, indeed. Snowmen would not be suitable for hot drinks. Ghosts, I can highly recommend. What tweet are we talking about? I'm not opening Twitter to find out, so you have to tell me. You're gonna make a giant flying ass. Good choice. Oh, that tweet, the gas giant tweet. Yeah. Does it have to be gender specific? Perhaps just best brewed ship. I'm the only person who can pass through invisible walls. Maybe. Maybe. I'm liking this. I'm feeling like I'm getting a bit of Chuck Norris lore going around me. I'm not sure what I've done to deserve it, but I'll take it. It reminded you of when you did a quiz in class and it was like, which plant has the greatest mass? Which planet has the greatest mass? Mars, Jupiter or Saturn, and everyone was arguing about which was bigger. And you were screaming, mass, mass! This I can believe. You are quite loud sometimes. Guys, Fixer, welcome. Looking forward to Starfield in a few hours. Me too, me too. I'm not going to play it in a few hours, but I am going to play it tomorrow and I can't not. It's going to be fun. Same driver as you. Like, driver talk is too nerdy, but please tell me what driver version that is. The last mainline one was, can't remember, ended 0.699 I think. Maybe 53.699, I can't remember. I can't remember the exact number, but I know I went on to get one of their non-game ready ones with a Ratchet and Clank hotfix, just on the off chance that when they said Ratchet and Clank they meant Red Dead Redemption 2, but they didn't. You can land on Jupiter's moons, which is cool. Good. You don't know what the answer was, but they were talking in terms of volume, and you were like, mass isn't the same as size. Indeed, there's a correlation, but I'm sure it was one of those trick questions where one of them is way more dense than the others. And I don't know the answer, for I am not smart. Alex, I must buy the Starfield early access, otherwise I can't survive till next week's official release date. I could survive, but it would make go live a little bit tricky when everyone's just talking about how much fun they've had with Starfield. I could survive, like, my typical policy around single player games is that they don't actually need to be played straight away, because they don't get any worse. They stay as good or slightly improved with bug fixes and all the rest of it for a long time. So typically they're not worth jumping in on day one, but every now and again you get like a special one that you're just really anticipating and you can't wait on. Starfield is one of those. I could definitely wait until Thursday though. Like it feels silly to pay 30 quid for 5 days of early access when realistically I'm probably going to play it for about 3 hours in those 5 days. Time is hard to come by today. It's an expensive 3 hours. And yet, I will be enjoying that 3 hours. Starfield FOMO is selling lots of the deluxe version of the early access DLC for Microsoft. That's the other thing, Replicant, is that's actually it's not a thing I'm massively keen on, the way that the Game Pass games have premium versions that cost half the price of an actual game and get you between 3 and 5 days of early access. I don't massively openly want to like support that as a good policy, but it does include the DLC. So really, I'm inevitably going to get that DLC anyway, right? So it's not that expensive. That's also how I'm justifying it, Southmole. It's also how I'm justifying it. Spriggan, you saw Luke Stevens' bug reel in his review. It reminded you of Joffrey being captured from a horse and through the forest in Oblivion. Oh, Joffrey being catapulted from horse and through the forest. So this isn't Joffrey from Game of Thrones, because I don't remember him being in Oblivion. It's a different Joffrey. Tom, makes sense. You'd have not paid if it wasn't for the time that you could book off of work starting on Monday. Tom, you've not got more time off work. You had a whole week off for your birthday like a couple of weeks ago. You can't fool me. I'm glad you've got the time off and you can enjoy it. Dave Mac, I have a 49th. Dave Mac, I am not sensible with my spending. I have no remaining money after getting the 4090 in the treadmill. Times are hard. Games are difficult to come by. You're right that like I have some absurd luxury items, but I also have a fairly shit TV. And like various compromises in other places. I took a horrible loan to get the 4090 in the treadmill, and I will be poor for a long time. Games are a luxury, and I will strive. I will scrap and fight to be able to get some of them. Also, I do burn a lot of money on subscriptions because I'm a bit of a twat. Illegal Dad, you got early access because it was strategic, as you have a lot of work in 2 weeks. Yeah. Fair enough. AMD just released a new driver for Starfield. I don't have an AMD card, but good. And Tom, you work for a third sector organization. We get about 2 weeks more leave than most. Oh, all right, fancy. Dave Mack, you're going to sell one of your kids so that you can get a 4090. Yeah. I'm not going to offer to buy your kid for you, but I understand that temptation, yes. Early access is worth it as it includes the later DLC called Shattered Space. Yes, indeed, that's my justification. My hesitation is that I'm not sure that I'll still be playing it on the Xbox platform version by the time Shattered Space comes out. So I am refreshing every minute to see when a virtual reality mod comes to it. And I don't know whether that will work on the Game Pass version or not. Definitely lives in London if you have a 4090. I do not live in London, no. And it was definitely a bank loan that got me a 4090 and a treadmill, my virtual reality treadmill that I've not used nearly enough. Your kids are 20 and 22. I'm not sure that selling them is an okay thing at that point. I think you have to sell them before the age of 7. I think that's the rules. Can I link my Xbox account to GeForce Now? So Replicant, the PC Game Pass has started rolling out onto GeForce Now. It doesn't link nicely. So there's only, I think, about 15 games. I think it's increasing today, actually. So maybe like 25 games probably from the PC Game Pass library. But you can't link it in the way that you can your Ubisoft or your Steam account. Instead, how does it work? It does link in a way, but every time you launch one of the games, it asks you to sign in again. So it's not seamless and smooth, but they are there. The reason I specify that it's PC Game Pass and not Game Pass Ultimate is because I tried to record a bit of Hivebusters for the video that I was doing. And Hivebusters is not included in PC Game Pass. So Hivebusters is the Gears of War 5 expansion, and it's free if you've got Game Pass Ultimate, but PC Game Pass isn't Game Pass Ultimate. I have Game Pass Ultimate, but I couldn't access that DLC on GeForce Now, because it is specifically the PC Game Pass side of the link that it gives you. You could afford a 4090 if you lived outside of London, yeah. Yeah, if you get like London or nationwide monies, and you live outside of London, then you're doing all right. You don't see the option to link it. I can't actually remember how I got the library to appear. I think I had just browsed for the games. You must link it in some way, or it wouldn't have let me launch them. But I did. It's a bit lame that it isn't Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah, to be fair, I think the only bit of content that's exclusive to Ultimate is Gears of War Hivebusters. Can anyone think of any others? Are there any other bits of content? Like EA Play, obviously, is a little bit different. I think you actually do get that on PC Game Pass. I can't remember. But any other bits of content that you get on Game Pass Ultimate that you don't get on Game Pass PC? Aaron Summers, you got the premium edition on Steam for $63.49 back in June. Yeah, okay, fancy pants. Don't think it's going to be easy to find it at that price anymore. Peter is off. Wait a minute. Oh, off work. Yep. You assumed he'd retired. Bit rude, that. Bit rude. Grand Theft Auto 5. So I don't mean that's available on console. There's probably a few games on console that Halo 5 must be in there for one. I mean, on the PC side of it, or even on the console side of it. So if you're just looking at the Xbox library, is there anything that's on Ultimate that's not on Game Pass for console, or that's on Ultimate and not on Game Pass for PC? And does that make sense? I'm not being very, very clear in what I'm asking there. I get it. Hivebusters had fantastic visuals. Gears of War 5 has fantastic visuals as well. So all of the improvements that came in time for Hivebusters, they did add them into Gears 5 as well. It is a very nice, pretty game. My thought on Sherwood. Tim Sherwood was a fine striker for Blackburn Rovers in the 90s. That's probably not even true. I just made the year up. I'm pretty sure that was a real person that played for Blackburn at some point. What do you mean, my thoughts on Sherwood? It's a nice forest. Thank you, Southmore. You're going to scream really loud. Let you know if I can hear you. I've got earbuds in. Otherwise I might hear you, but don't think I'm going to. Why are you going to scream? Have I done something? Have I done something terrible? You want money and your brain isn't plugged in. Okay. Okay. Asking if I have a left shoe on my right foot. No, here goes the goldfish thing. I'm lost. You think Sherwood is the real name of that MMORPG that you thought was called Mararga? Yeah. Yes, I think there is a new Sherwood game of some kind coming along, but it's only like a hint of a memory that might be confusing it with a different conversation. Graphics cards are starting to come down in the UK. Good. GeForce Now is a bargain in the UK. If you haven't got one of those graphics cards, it is a very viable option. Do check out my video to see just how pretty GeForce Now actually looks. Hivebusters look better than the regular game. Maybe it was the color palette. Color palette in Gears of War, I've mentioned before, is like a thing that I find quite fascinating, because the first Gears of War, and probably like for a little while afterwards, was renowned for being brown and grey. Did not have color. In Gears of War 5, it manages to maintain a lot of the feel and the vibe, but it's so colourful and vibrant. Hivebusters in particular, yes, you go from like lush green to very burn your eyes orange lava. It's a very colourful game these days, which I appreciate. I do like a bit of colour. Good evening, Wayne. Oh, you must be excited for Starfield. You play everything space. Are you playing it tonight, Wayne? Are you gonna play it? Are you gonna wait until tomorrow, get some sleep, and then play some Starfield, or are you gonna wait until the Game Pass release? Alex, I must watch out which answers I choose in Starfield. Make sure I watch a few online. I'm absolutely not going to watch a few online videos. I'm absolutely going to pick whatever answers seem funny at the time, and I'm going to roll with it, because that's how I enjoy that kind of game. There's not a chance in hell that I'd want to know what any of the consequences of their choices are. I am not tired of being nice, because I have never tried it. But going apeshit does sound fun. You're waiting up, so you're going to stay up for a late one this evening, huh? Are you still off with the old recovery? Pushing GeForce Now. I am a massive shill. If you do watch the video, it does at the end offer you my affiliate code, which you can use anytime you like for a 0% discount on GeForce Now. I talk about GeForce Now because it's genuinely impressed me. I had no intention of ever touching cloud streaming, really. Like, I played a bit of Stadia when it came out, just to sample it and see like where the technology was. And I set up GeForce Now for my wife to play Baldur's Gate, because the laptop that she's on didn't have enough memory to play Baldur's Gate. And rather than trying to get a new laptop, a nice little bit of GeForce Now just made a lot of sense for us in that moment. And then when it came to trying it, I looked at it on that little laptop screen and went, holy shit, why does this look so good? Now I need to try it for myself. And it's genuinely impressive. No money, no conversations, no attempts at favor from NVIDIA. It's just really good. Wayne, you were going to be nice yourself in Starfield, but after listening to others, you might be a pirate. Don't tell me about what other people are suggesting. Very spoiler-free zone. You're going to take that 0%. We're Sony pushing their prices up by 20. It's more than that for some tiers, isn't it? Let's talk about that next. We'll loop back around to Starfield and reviews and all of those things soon. And we'll talk about this PlayStation price hikes. So I actually have questions here because I haven't done my own research. PlayStation have, at the end of this month's announcement for on the PlayStation blog, in fact I'll bring up the PlayStation blog, they announced the games that are coming out for the month, like Saints Row, Generation Zero and something else. I can't remember what the fourth one was. Some other PlayStation 4 game. Blog. And at the end of the blog, they announced that on September the 6th, was it September the 6th, or am I just confusing it with the Starfield date? Some date real soon in September, the prices be going up. PlayStation Stars, I'm on the blog, you can see the blog, you can share it with me. Latest post, MLB, PlayStation Plus monthly games for September. Black Desert, that was the other one, which costs about £3 on other stores at the moment. The prices are going up though. It's the 12 months prices specifically are going up quite a lot. This doesn't have the original rates, but I'm pretty sure the premium one in particular is going up somewhere in the region of like 35% as an increase. And PlayStation Plus, the base one that you need for online play, is going up about 20%. Tell me, yeah, Lost Boomer 33% for nothing more. So you don't get anything for it. Spriggan, you also had 33. I think 33% is specifically for this premium tier. Volition Games shutting down. Yes, we did briefly touch on that. Embracer had their big fall through with probably a Saudi investment fund, and they have been tightening the purse strings and shutting down various studios. Volition being their most recent victim because Saints Row did not perform very well, which is a shame. That's a right fucking hike. Yeah. So, question first of all, how many people here are on one of these 12-month subscriptions, and which one? Where's Tony today? I don't know where Tony is. He might be getting his sleep in before Starfield comes out. PlayStation Plus going up is fine. They make the most objectively great quality AAA games. Do they, Tom? None of those games are on PlayStation Plus though, are they? Or at least not while they're fresh. Premium going up by $45. You cancelled PlayStation Plus 6 months ago. Which tier of PlayStation Plus were you on, and what duration? I don't think it's been a shite service. Generally, it doesn't have like day one games like the Xbox does, but it has a lot in the catalogue. You screamed. I didn't hear you, Isla. You can do it again if you want to. I don't recommend it. The only sub you have is Amazon Prime. I got like I'm a subscription junkie, so I've got all kinds of subs that I don't even use because I suck. I say this bit really quietly because I don't want to get my wife angry. You'd like Xbox to do an annual fee for Game Pass Ultimate? Well, there's an interesting thing, episode 13, because Xbox killed their 12-month subscriptions relatively recently, and I can't remember if that was Game Pass or if it was just Gold. But I'm wondering if PlayStation would have been better off taking the same approach, because these prices, it doesn't look like, unless they just haven't clarified yet, it doesn't look like the prices for the 1 month or the, I don't know if they do 6, but the 1 or 3 month subscriptions are remaining the same price. They're not changing. So for me, I've got the premium subscription, but I think I pay it monthly, maybe 3 monthly. So the price increase on 12 months, all it's really done for me is make me realize like how much of a saving the 12-month subscription actually was. It's not actually hurting me directly, and I'm not saying this in defense of the price increase, because price increases suck. But I'm just wondering how many people are actually on 12 months. Because I typically would avoid, like there's a good reason that 12-month subscription plans are cheaper than 1 and 3. Because that commitment has value to those platform holders. Value above a more expensive subscription that could be cancelled. Freebear, your PC, so this seems like bad timing with Starfield coming out the same day, or does it matter? It depends. Like Starfield coming out the same day might be, you know how politicians release bad news at the end of the week because it's just going to get buried and no one's going to notice. I would think this news coming and this thing happening is probably very deliberately. It's rather than like them wanting to be compared and contrasted against like, well, Starfield's coming and Game Pass is looking really good right now. They're probably going, there's a lot of media buzz about this other thing, so let's see if we can just slip this one out. It's not really worked. It's been noticed. So yeah, they are getting that compare and contrast being cast in a bad light against their competition, or at least they are in this little circle that pays attention to gaming news as closely as we do. But maybe in the broader landscape of word of mouth won't spread very far, because everyone's just going to be talking Starfield and this thing can just slide under, and maybe it won't be noticed that badly. Episode 13, Xbox Game Pass, you can still stack gold, but it's a 3-2 ratio now. Your Game Pass is stacked until June 25, so you're happy. Good. I've never done the stacking. I'm a very lazy subscriber. I subscribe, apart from, I think I've got an annual subscription to EA Play, because their annual subscription is like a lot cheaper than their monthly rate. I think all of my others are either 1 or 3 months. I don't typically, it's a bit dumb, because my theory is I don't do the long commitment, because then I'm locked in and I can't cancel it, and that's just not very savvy to not be able to cancel a subscription. But realistically, I never cancel subscriptions, so I'm just being an idiot. I should have done it yearly on all of them. But idiocy is one of my more endearing traits, which is why... Oh no, it's really not. Do I use them all? Absolutely not. I've had Ubisoft Plus for probably 2 years, and I don't think I've played a single game on it, barring like 10 minutes of capture for various videos every now and again. Stacking is great. You just turn off auto, and yeah, I should be sensible, but you know, it's all effort. Wayne, you're with Game Pass for 3 years, all free. You're not tight, honest. Does anybody here have 12-month recurring subscriptions to PlayStation Plus though? Like, is this PlayStation price change actually directly gonna cost anyone, like, in this group that's here right now? Or, like, by the same token, is anybody gonna cancel PlayStation Plus because this would cost them? Starfield is dead before release. Then it's alive when it releases, right? It's in a state of, like, sure, it can be dead for now, and then suddenly, bang! 3 hours from now, it's alive. Your brother and your girlfriend have 12-month subscriptions? Isla's got a big wee, like that boat at the roller coaster park. Very confusing. I don't know what's going on there. Episode 13 is sorry though. Oh, you're subscribed to Isla's mood swings, I see. Do not recommend. Or at least take like some travel sickness tablets or whatever. Starfield will be live on... It'll live on like Skyrim for over 15 years. Yes, it will. The mod community already have their teeth into it. There's bad mods already appearing. There's reshades already appearing. I saw... This was a bit weird actually. Pete Hines has apparently confirmed that mods are coming soon to Starfield on PC and Xbox. But that's surely not true. Surely as soon as it's released, they're there on Xbox. At least like the good mods and the script extenders, they can all be worked on straight away. I'm assuming he's talking about the Creation Club curated mods when he says that. Lost Boom, Amazon, Game Pass, Netflix, Disney, Nintendo, PlayStation Premium, 100 a year. You've got all of those for 100 a year? Nah, that's too cheap. Like, any one of those would be 100 a year, right? Jizzle, you pre-ordered the PlayStation Portal. Good. I have no use for PlayStation Portal myself, but I do want their earbuds. I saw, so PlayStation Portal, they've announced the release date's November 15th, right? You can pre-order it from today. If you rely on mods, the game is trash. You don't rely on... Oh, Jizza. No. It's not like that. So, in Starfield's case, I'm going to do a clean, unmodded playthrough starting from tomorrow, because I want to play the clean, unmodded game. But mods can add to things forever. Not least of which, the one that I'm primarily interested in is virtual reality, because I don't think Microsoft are going to give it to me. So I'm relying on the modding community to let me play Starfield in VR. But when I play Skyrim in VR, the mods to that, like, they're transformative. Like, there's some phenomenal mods for Skyrim VR. Skyrim VR out the box, and you're right on this one, by the way. Skyrim VR relies on mods. Like, out the box, it's not really good enough. So they did let the modding community fix quite a lot on there, but damn did they fix it well, and then go beyond and release some things that were just totally unexpected. Xbox will never have a Game of the Year. I'll be very surprised if they never have a Game of the Year. They're going to be swinging a lot harder from now on, I think, which is good. Good for everyone. Jizzle, why do you hate Starfield? Apart from that Sony for Life thing, that's all strange though. Do you actually are you just not a fan of Bethesda's games? Have you played Skyrim and Fallout and all the rest of them? Remake Station 5. Look, let's not let's not get into console warring, because otherwise I'll get busy banning people. I don't care for console warring. It's not what this nice friendly chat's all about. Spider-Man and Miles. Meta is 86. Look, I really like Spider-Man and Miles Morales. I think I'm really gonna like Starfield. I haven't played it yet, but it's my kind of game. Isla's in the kitchen. Don't make her come and ban stuff. Tell me, like in a nice, calm, civil way. What's with the hate for Starfield? Free Bear, is VR possible for Starfield? No, not at the moment. So my hope for it is Bethesda as a studio. They have always been very supportive of virtual reality, and so has ZeniMax as a publisher. The Bethesda Softworks and Bethesda Game Studios have been very forward and supportive of VR. You can play Skyrim and Fallout officially in VR. They've made a Doom game in VR. They've made a Wolfenstein game in VR. They're very supportive of it. And then they got bought by Microsoft. So now I don't think they're allowed to be supportive of it. But I'm hoping, because the people were keen on it, they've left some really convenient hooks in the game to make things easy for the modding community. And the modding community, like PC VR modding community, is pretty alive and well and very keen. So if Bethesda have kindly, like, it's a bit complicated, but if you think about weapon handling in VR, if they've left the right hooks in the game to let you swing a weapon around independent of your character, then they're doing the VR community a favor. And I'm hoping that they've done the VR community some favors and the modding community can give me that very quickly. But we'll see. Episode 13 is basically Skyrim in space. I'm going to be fine. I'm definitely going to be fine. Like, it is what I'm hoping for. To be fair, I've not really played much Fallout. I think I expect Starfield to be more Fallout in space, and Fallout didn't really grip me, but like, Mass Effect did and other space games did, so I reckon I'll be good with Starfield. People like to hype games and it's harm and consume. Well, we'll get onto that conversation in a minute. In fact, let's get onto that conversation now. Let's get onto people hyping games. But Jizzaloop, please, like, it's not a place for the console war kind of angle. So, like, level-headed conversation on people that are hyping things, because that's always a recurring conversation that I keep coming back to. Starfield in particular, and also there's been a lot of Spider-Man merch going out this week as well. Let's have that conversation, shall we? So, you respect Paul Tassi again a little. What's Paul Tassi said? Oh, you respect him because he likes the game that you like, and he's normally hard on Xbox. Fair enough. Game Pass is pro-consumer. Hopefully, it definitely is for now. So, in terms of stuff that Microsoft do that is like unequivocally pro-consumer, crossplay, brilliant. Backwards compatibility, brilliant. Game Pass, hopefully brilliant, but time will tell. It's brilliant at the moment, so I'll always say on Game Pass, subscribe and enjoy it for as long as it's good. So long as it's offering proper games and it's good, subscribe and enjoy it, but just keep an eye on what they do with it. And hopefully in 10 years time it will still be good. I'm just not certain yet what direction they're going to go in terms of the further monetization and the chasing of other audiences. Game Pass is kind of their weapon in that little game as well. So hopefully, you don't hype Sony games. You're very critical about Sony as of late. Yeah, that's fine. No, so the thing that I want to talk about on hype though is more to do with the influencing angle and the merch packs. So there's a lot of Starfield merch going to a lot of people. You've probably seen various bomber jackets and the watches and constellation kits and stuff like that you can buy, but also like exclusive things like these jackets and stream decks and all of this kind of stuff. Influencer hyper noisy, yes, and a replicant does me as well. But you've also got Spider-Man consoles, so the limited edition PlayStation 5s with the Spider-Man plates have been going out as well, and people have been receiving all of this stuff and showing it off and being very happy with themselves for it. What do you all think of that in general as a practice in the industry? It's a tricky one because people need to unsubscribe if they start to not like what's on offer. Money is the only language that they'll recognize. Oh, for the Sony, yeah, and for Game Pass and all the rest of it. Paris got a Spider-Man PlayStation 5, which annoyed you. Absolute simp. Absolute simp. So, yeah, but at the same time, if you're Sony, it's like, and you're spending little bits of money to try and acquire an audience, the Xbox gamer has to be a very tempting audience, right? Those are people that like games. So of course, targeting Xbox influencers makes sense from their perspective. It's weird because to me, it's all it's a nasty little part of the industry, and I don't want to talk down on everybody that accepts free stuff, because you're all going to have, like, everybody that goes into content creation and all the rest of it, they're going to have their own reasons for doing that. And a lot of the stuff that you can get given is cool. Like that PlayStation console is cool. That Starfield jacket is cool. The yellow Cyberpunk chair, that was cool. And if you're into like games and nerdy paraphernalia and you're offered these things, they're cool things to have, right? Like, you'd want them, I'd want them. But at the same time, for me, like, my personal perspective is that it's an immediate trade-off of your credibility if you take them. And that's not to say that you shouldn't take them. Like, these people that are taking free stuff, these influencers that want their free stuff, it's a decision that they have to make for themselves. Free stuff is cool, and that might be entirely why they're in the game, and they put a lot of work in and they get cool things for it, and like, fair play if that's their angle and that's what they want. But it is a trade-off. Credibility gone. Like, you take that stuff, your opinion no longer counts. So it's like, and I say that about people I like and people I don't like. See, yeah, episode 13. I'm a very, very effective influencer, I have, you know. I don't think I've influenced anyone to do anything ever particularly, and it's not really what I'm in it for. But it's so rare to see people, like, it would be nice if there were more people that were in it to have that, like, integrity and credibility and, like, keep that level of trust that for me immediately goes away when you take stuff. And like I say, this is people that I like and people that I don't like. So I don't begrudge people for having free stuff. It's not a case of being really envious, but if you take a yellow Cyberpunk chair and then you tell everyone that Cyberpunk is really good, am I going to believe you in the same way that I'll believe someone that didn't take a yellow Cyberpunk chair? No, credibility has been traded in exchange for free stuff. So it's a difficult one. I would ask, like, I would discourage people from being mean to people that take free stuff, because realistically, like, it's cool to get free stuff, isn't it? Cool stuff versus integrity is hard. It is. And the cost of it, I mean, usually if you're in it, if you're trying to make a living off of content and stuff, then actually integrity is not a useful thing to have, really. Like, there's very few cases where that carries anyone anywhere. You'd be better off taking the free stuff because it also comes with extended reach and all the rest of it. If you send money, you're telling me that Redfall is amazing. That's a job. Yeah, well, yeah, it is. It is a weird working relationship. Episode 13, I missed the joke. No, you've had 3 COVID jabs and I still influence you. Yes. I do very deliberately conflate influencer and influenza because it is a weird viral infection. They're just promoters and people need to accept that. That's true, Dissolute, but I want to be, like, really, really clear that when I say accept that, I don't mean go and spit on those people and tell them they're living their life wrong, because that's not really how it is. Like, good for them, they earned that free stuff. And it cost them the validity of their opinion. It cost them some credibility, to me. What is your... You called me a goldfish, Isla, and asked if I read yours. You said you're literally cooking rice because I replied to that tweet about rice. Yes. Powerful influencer. You think that's more of a speed of chat, not like... Well, it's both, to be fair. Like, I'm trying to... The chat is moving. I'm trying to very carefully articulate my thoughts on this one because it would be very easy for me to say things that could be taken quite badly and cause a little mess that I don't really want to cause. So that makes it harder for me to keep up. It makes it harder for me to flip back and forth between chat and what I'm saying, or I'll end up saying something really, like, really off that I shouldn't. Halo Infinite with Husky Raid mode is so down. Husky Raid mode? What's Husky Raid mode? You're loving Texas Chainsaw. I hate Texas Chainsaw, but I have Halo Infinity installed for some community play if I get to do some of that soon. Goldfish don't swim fast because some nasty DMs. No, nasty DMs I don't care about. I don't want to... Like, the people that I dislike, they can take whatever they want from me. I don't care about them. But there are people that I do like that would also go the route of accepting free things. And, like, there could be a time when I'd be going, actually, yeah, I want the toys. I don't care about credibility and all the rest of it. Give me toys. I understand people making that decision. I just hope that they understand there is a cost to it as well. There is a downside to going that route. Even if it's an insignificant one to most people. It means something to me. Cause a big mess of dirty influenzas. Maybe one day. Not today. Not today. Jizzaloop, the difference is you will disclose the sponsorship, unlike others who pretend to be genuine. I think most of them do disclose, at least like, not as often as they technically should. That was an interesting thing, actually. KMed put on Twitter the FTC's current guidance for how influencers are supposed to behave when they're doing this promotional stuff. And it said, I read it because it's quite interesting. I'm not American, so the FTC stuff doesn't really apply to me. But it said the people that are American that are receiving free stuff, they're not only supposed to declare what it is in the way that they do, where they go like, I got this console or whatever, it's provided by PlayStation, this is sponsored content. They're supposed to reiterate the fact that they have that relationship and that they're getting sponsorship and stuff regularly whenever they're talking about products from that company. It's not supposed to be a one-off declaration. So in theory, if you get a Starfield bomber jacket and then you do a review for Starfield, you should be declaring that relationship. If you do a podcast where you talk about Starfield, you're supposed to repeatedly remind people of that relationship throughout the podcast, because the FTC care about it being so slimy. You think it's the same in the UK? I was surprised at the extent of it, because it would be really difficult in practice to actually... It would be really difficult for anyone to take you seriously if every 15 minutes in your podcast you had to remind them that you were a shill. But it would also be really awesome. I would love to see it. It would be just so nice. Manscaped is a bit different. So if the people that are sponsored by Manscaped, so Xbox 2 or whatever, if they were to randomly elsewhere on a different show start talking about the colognes that Manscaped sell, completely off topic, outside of their sponsorship, they would be obligated to mention that they are sponsored by Manscaped while they were talking about it. That's it would just be so funny if they had to be that upfront, and it would be a level of transparency that kind of should exist even if it's not practical. So that would be cool. I would like it. It would be fun. Not going to happen, but if you want genuine, yes, replicant indeed. Rotten to the core, but that's a story for another day. That's why they have PP on TV programs. I'm not sure about that one, Wayne. Not sure about that. Am I mad because the PlayStation Plus price increase? Mad is an emotion, remake Station 5, and I don't particularly embrace those. So the PlayStation Plus... Oh, it's still on my screen. Get rid of that. Oh, my OST is quite loud and no one's complained. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. The PlayStation Plus thing doesn't bother me because I'm not on a 12-month plan. That's not to say that I'm supportive of the increase either. It's always sucky when prices go up. The fact that it doesn't directly impact me is, not the be-all end-all. So, boo, price increases. So, by law, don't you have to disclose? When there are laws. What are my hearing habits? What does that mean, Alex? What do you mean, what are my hearing habits? I don't know what hearing habits means, but if you clarify, I will try and answer. Things could be worse. You may have bought a PSVR 2. Oh, Luap, I've got a PSVR 2. I have used it this week and last week and many other weeks as well. I am a fan, actually. I haven't tried No Man's Sky since the update. A lot of people have been talking that up lately. I will tell you on the PSVR 2 front though, there have been some disappointments the last couple of weeks. I definitely had my eye on what's that game? Firewall Ultra, and the Crossfire game as well looked quite nice in trailers despite being a Crossfire game. Unfortunately, Firewall Ultra was massively disappointing, and Crossfire turned out to be a Crossfire, so also disappointing. But I'm not sad that I've got the PSVR 2 by any stretch. It's a really good headset, and I play Gran Turismo fairly regularly on it. So Gran Turismo is terrible without it and really good with it. What's shaving pubes and games have in common? Well, as Crypt Keeper, what they have in common is that a lot of people that play games also have balls. So sponsorship kind of works in that regard. You wanted to say, what are my eating habits like? My eating habits are bad. Why? Well, my eating habits are bad. Not in terms of junk food, but in terms of scheduling. I don't eat that well. Wayne, the logo has to be shown at the beginning of the program and repeated after any advertising break during the program. It always has to be shown at the end of the program. Is this the UK rules, Wayne? Oh, product placement. PP is not what I thought it was. I thought, okay, that doesn't matter what I thought. Product placement is allowed in films. And you have to do, yeah. No, Peter, it's fine. No, Wayne, it's not UK law that Peter shaves his balls. Oh no, I'm getting the threads confused. So UK law on product placement, yes, but in terms of like influencer promotion, stuff like that is more the angle that I was going for, more so than product placement. On Cyberpunk. Okay, good. Let's go on to... No, actually, I want to carry on the influencer bit a little bit more, because I want to shout out particularly, and I quite frequently shout these two out, Karak, Jeremy Penter, ACG, and Gene Park, because those two are the only two that I know of that have made a really conscientious effort to not be shills, to not be to keep that credibility and to keep their integrity. So I want to know if you know of any other content creators that follow that line, that you would say wow, these guys, I still trust them because they've not given me any reason not to trust them, because they have self-imposed policies that keep them on the level. Are there any others? ACG and Gene Park definitely fit that bill. Are there any others that are in there? A nice shill. So Gene Park has his own policy where any game that he ever reviews, he'll always buy with his own money to keep him honest. And I'm not saying that policy is perfect, but it's a conscientious effort. And that counts for a lot for me. If someone is... yes, the OST is occasionally too loud, thank you. If someone is self-imposing policies to keep themselves honest, even if that policy isn't perfect, the fact that they're trying means a lot. And spending their own money for games that they review, which is ACG does the same. He'll do a giveaway for every game that he reviews, so he'll buy his own copy to give away, and they're doing that so that they can still appreciate what it means to spend money and all the rest of it. Alex, you trust Cole? Cole is lovely. Cole, see, when I was talking about influencers that I like and influencers that I don't, I like Cole. Cole's received a lot of stuff for Starfield. Therefore, if you apply what I'm saying about credibility being lost when you receive free stuff, does that apply to Cole Eastwood? Yeah, it does. Doesn't mean he's an arsehole. Doesn't mean that he's doing anything wrong to take that free stuff. He's earned it. He puts a lot of work into his content. Good for him. But his review doesn't mean anything to me. You can tell him if you want. That's fine. And I don't think that's unfair. And if anybody thinks that is a harsh way to look at it, say as much, because I'm curious. Stop yelling, Remake Station. We're all good. He won't mind me saying that. I did not hear you scream. It's a difficult decision between any non-biased UK reviewers. Not just UK, any reviewers anywhere. Because I am interested in these people. You thought that I was joking? Yeah, it took me a minute to actually place exactly what it meant. Kier threatened you with the kettle. That's a bit aggressive. Kettles, you can do a lot of damage with a kettle if you know how to use it. Worth a buy. Is that a channel name, I'm assuming? You're going to take flack for this? The Last Stand, guys. Well, that's... You're not going to take any flack from me. There's, So Gaz really doesn't get along with Colin, but they have some ideological differences like beyond gaming. Besides that, so yeah, they don't take free stuff and they don't take interviews like PR interviews and stuff. And yeah, you're right. Like that counts. I respect them for that. So that counts. Alex, you trust Randall Thor. His review of Starfield was legitimate good, but he does... I don't actually know if Rand takes any free stuff. Like, so review copies is different. Review copies are their own thing. We can talk about that slightly separately. At the moment, I'm talking specifically like jackets and free consoles and merch, like things that are... You can only look at it as an attempt to influence the influencers, right? The reason that Bethesda are sending jackets and watches to people, the reason that Sony are sending PlayStations to people is not some deep secret that you're not supposed to understand. They're trying to sway those people and buy some positive messaging. There's no other way to really look at what's happening there. It's absolutely an attempt to sway influencers. So by the same token, if you are accepting those, then you are compromised, you have been swayed, you are going to be nicer than you would have been if you didn't get that free stuff. So in Rand's case, I actually have no idea if he takes things like that. No info on a game on daily review. Gaz is reviewing Starfield. Gaz's policies might not actually be the same as mine on free stuff. We haven't really spoken about it very much. You don't think you've ever seen Rand open gift boxes? No, Free Bear, I haven't. I'm not sure, like, Rand's own position on that. Sony didn't send free PlayStation 5s to influencers. Jizzle, that's ironic. Sony have literally sent free PlayStation 5s to influencers this week. So yes, they definitely do. Rand doesn't go on camera, not very often, no. He has been around on camera a little bit, but not for his podcast and stuff. I think they showed the box they got, not the money. They didn't get given money, they got stuff, free stuff. And it's like, it's not just video games, it's the same in every industry. If a corporation is giving gifts away, they're not gifts because they like you. They're gifts because they want you to behave for them. So, but like, that's just the reality of it. That's the way the world works. You're talking about when PlayStation 5 released. I'm pretty sure that people got PlayStation 5s when they released as well. Not necessarily the same tier of influencers, but they definitely gave PlayStation 5s to people. Is it true that ACG mentioned my name? I said that in the last video. I don't know, Alex. Tom said that. I've not heard what that was about. I've had a 3-hour one-to-one podcast with ACG that was just on his Spotify channel. So he does know me. I do know him to a degree. So he might have mentioned me for some reason or other. He's popped into a couple of my streams when I was playing The Ascent and when I was playing Baldur's Gate. ACG, Jeremy Penta, he's got a 1 million subscriber strong YouTube channel. He's a good reviewer. Typically, when you hear people talk about who does good reviews, his name will come up. You get why influencers sent promotional gear. It can annoy you depending on the person. Yeah, we all know why. Like, of course we do. Reviews, on the other hand, you know, I don't even know how you would solve this one, because it's similar, and there's been a lot of talk around Starfield. Obviously, there were certain outlets that didn't get Starfield review codes, which sparked up the whole conversation there again. it crosses a different line because review codes going out, of course they need to be free, and it is like a working relationship thing. It should be a working relationship thing. A reviewer that's getting a game to do a review has to put in a lot of hours, and they have to cover a lot of content, and it's not, there wouldn't be any reviewers if these people all had to buy their own games. So it's a slightly different issue. When I talk about people receiving free stuff and keeping themselves honest, reviewers is a whole different game. You need to have like, for the health of the industry and coverage, you need to have trusted reviewers who get access to games to do reviews. And that's the same outside of gaming as well. You can have like you can give a review code, or let's talk about something else like a TV or something. You can give a TV to HD TV test or whatever, and they're professionals and they know exactly what they're talking about with a TV, and they will review that TV, and they'll usually send it back, funnily enough. Same for like Gamers Nexus. There was this big hoo-ha a couple of weeks ago between them and Linus Tech Tips around how to do hardware benching, but typically those people are sent all kinds of fancy, really expensive hardware because they know what they're doing and people trust their reviews, so they have a really thorough process that they will apply. Typically they send that hardware back. Gaming's a little bit different. People are given games for free, and then it gets a little bit muddled because people are just given games for free, and the whole system of reviewing is way less regimented and way less sensible than hardware reviewing for obvious reasons. There's no point in like the concept of having a game temporarily to do a review and then giving it back, I think would actually be quite nice. It might fix a few issues, but there's no like value to arranging that from a publisher's perspective. There's no point in trying to take a game back. Or is there? There's an interesting thought. I'll explore that more deeply another time. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. You like how on Steam you have to say if you received a free copy of a game off your review, and it'll pin received free copy to the review. It does, Spriggan, but at the same time, so like ACG is the example, right? We all know, or most people here seem to know, that ACG does a good review, right? If ACG received that game for free, I'd still trust his review because he's a professional reviewer who holds games to a certain standard and has integrity in that regard. In the same way that I would trust HDTV to do a TV, I'll trust Gamers Nexus to review some, like a new CPU or something like that. Whereas if you give it to someone who's not in that line of work, who isn't that professional, who doesn't have that standard in place or that working process, if you give a TV to a random shill on the street, that's a very different proposition. If you give Starfield to people that don't have a professional review process, then suddenly you are crossing that line into the free merch. So I get that there's a bit of overlap between review copies and merchandise, but specifically it's easier to draw a line and handle jackets and chairs and things like that and consoles a little bit differently. Because free games are inevitable, and there has to be a point where those are accepted and reviewed. Free merch, then you cross the line that takes some credibility away. Anyway, my throat is beginning to hurt, so I've run out. I've forgotten what I was talking about. Let's talk about Starfield reviews. Disregard the last 10 minutes of what I said, because I don't think I've made any sense for the last 10 minutes. In my own head, I've been crunching over some things that I haven't portrayed very well at all. So disregard the last 10 minutes. Let's get on to Gaz is our friend because he's a friend of me. Someone like Gaz. What are we talking about? Metro just seemed to clickbait with fanboy reader. Yeah, their reader letters are terrible. I don't know why people keep giving those attentions. They do pick the most controversial, ridiculous reader features and just publish them. And it works. They get their engagement. Spaz. Not been mean. It must be the only reason that it doesn't go camera. Wait a minute. I probably shouldn't have read whatever that was. It was on a podcast maybe two ago. They were talking about VR and my name came back. Yeah, that would make sense, Tom, because like I say, I had a 3-hour chat with Carrick that was purely about virtual reality, just for his Spotify channel, and it was good fun actually. I like listening to their podcast because they are people more like me who see games more as I see them, so it makes me feel a little bit sane when I listen to their podcast rather than some of the others that are around. Let's do Starfield reviews. So IGN, PC Gamer, I think GameSpot, they gave it 7s. Some other outlets have given it 10s, and there's some numbers in between. Its Metacritic was sitting at about 87, 88 before the start of this. Has anyone's opinion on Starfield been swayed by the reviews? Does anyone care? Do any of those reviews matter? I know some of you, Peter was saying earlier that he's gone and watched Cults and Rand's reviews, but not because he was looking to have his decision influenced. Like, he wasn't never going to change his mind on playing it. It's just like embracing the hype a little bit. Is that right, Peter? Like, you watch it because the wave of excitement is nice to be part of. IGN can get lost. Do you think they said some weird stuff, didn't they? Dan Stapleton, he said that he wants to play it for 100 more hours, but still gave it a 7. How do you, if you were a reviewer, scoring is a weird thing in a review for me. How would you approach scoring a game? Do you think that these reviewers should be like, a game is by default like perfect score 10 out of 10, and you should start taking points away for everything that it does wrong? Or should you be starting from 0 and attributing points for everything that it does right? Or is the score supposed to just be like a gut feeling, where for some reason 7 is average, 8 is good, which seems to be the way that these things actually work? How do you think reviews should be structured? How do you approach it? How do you review Starfield in a game where Mario Wonder is coming out soon? And keep those numbers meaning anything at all. Episode 13, you went for 92. Reviews are pretty decent everywhere. Yeah, the reviews are like, there's nothing in the reviews that suggests there's anything shockingly wrong with the game. Peter, you're going to play and enjoy it either way. You're just interested to see how folks you hold in high regard, see what their opinion of the game is. Yeah. Eurogamer's been doing the same outlier negative reviews. So Eurogamer haven't done a review for this one yet, have they? Because they didn't get the key. Dennis, you're playing Bethesda games for my cursor's in the way, over 25 years. You really don't need a review or a score to dictate to you if you're going to enjoy it or not. That's true. It's very true of Starfield. Like, everyone's already aware of what... Everyone's a silly thing to say, because obviously we're quite a tight circle of people that follow games very closely. But a lot of people are very aware of what a Bethesda game is. Replicant, you ignore game reviews. You ignore game reviews on a big game like Starfield, or you ignore all game reviews? Like things like Sea of Stars that are less known, or Remnant 2. Like, you'd ignore game reviews for those ones that you're less certain of? All game reviews. So how do you decide what you're going to play and what you're not? Where does the marketing cycle manage to get your attention? Check out what you fancy. The meta is important, episode 13. Meta is important in terms of, you mean in terms of like dev payouts and things, or it's important to you? But as you're not looking at any reviews, you'll see for yourself when you get the chance. But that's on Starfield again, isn't it? If Metacritic wasn't so pivotal in the market, you'd ignore it too. But it holds a lot of weight. I don't think it holds a lot of weight in my own decision making. Peter, you're a Bethesda RPG virgin. Incredible, you know, but you are. That's fair enough. Like, good for you. I hope you find a new style of game that you love, because they are... I don't want to like overhype it. I don't want you to go in and think like you're going to suddenly find a game that's unlike anything you've ever played before. But Bethesda games are unlike anything you've ever played before, in a way that may not be evident the second you pick it up, but after you've invested a fair amount of time into it, I think it'll start to become clear that it's not quite like the others. You mean the general mass and the console wars here? Where does bias come into play with a review? Well, where does bias come into play with a review? That's another really tricky one, because to a degree, like, lots of people are going to be biased. I mentioned it around Xbox era specifically last week. Like, they've got a reputation for really scoring Xbox games highly, and a lot of people berate them for it, and I don't berate them for it. because I think on an individual review basis, there's not really a right or wrong approach to reviewing a game. The key is that you find an audience that you resonate with, or that audience finds you. So an audience finds a reviewer that they resonate with, that has similar taste to them and approaches games in the same way as them, so that the review is relevant to that audience. And in the case of Xbox Era, like, their whole identity is that they love Xbox, and there's going to be a load of other people that love Xbox who approach games in exactly the same way, so those reviews are going to matter to those people. And that's not like wrong. Same with them. You always get with like a racing game, if you've got someone that's bad at a racing game that doesn't play racing games, and then they play their first racing game and do a review on it, people rightly slate them in that, like, why would you get me to review a stealth game? I hate stealth games. But if I were to review a stealth game, or someone that doesn't like racing games reviews a racing game, my perspective would actually still be relevant to other people that dislike stealth games. So it's not that that review is bad in itself independently on its own. It has its place, it has its uses. But then when you get into aggregates, like my review as someone that doesn't like stealth games, I shouldn't be included on an aggregate site for the review scores for Metal Gear Solid. That would just be weird. So it's a little bit tricky on that one, like biases and how they fit into reviews, because I don't think you need to... you can't realistically eliminate everyone that's biased from doing reviews. There are many reviewers called Xbox Era, Mondo Xbox Generation, Xbox, allowed to float a score. Yeah, I mean... But this is just a possibly unsolvable problem that Metacritic has and OpenCritic has. Metacritic tries to solve it with weighting, don't they? They, funnily enough, they're given like IGN a really heavy weighting in their scores, so that 7 out of 10 will do some damage to the Metascore. But they try and do it. They try and weight trusted journalists and whatever higher than they do every other site. OpenCritic does the opposite approach. They try and treat everybody equal. But there's not really a correct answer or a way to solve that problem perfectly, where people are going to get like a perfectly aggregated review score that suits their taste in games. Which is why it's so important to find, like, important's a funny word because none of this is actually important. But like, you're best off finding a small number of reviewers that you resonate with and trusting their opinions if you are choosing to trust opinions on reviews, rather than caring too much about overall aggregates and stuff like that. That's my thoughts on it anyway. Metacritic user scoring is pointless. Yeah, user scoring, it's a shame actually. I was listening to ACG's podcast and he was saying that a lot of people rate Steam reviews and he thinks it's like a cesspit of villainy and scum. Because so many user reviews, Steam user reviews are good to a degree, because it takes the account of real people that have bought a game and they're generally quite fair. But the reason that he was saying that it's a cesspit is that you do get these cases where things are review bombed for like reasons outside of the game itself, and it totally undermines the whole structure of user reviews on Metacritic, not Metacritic, on Steam. And that's a shame, because Steam is still probably the best user review system you're going to get. But you go to something like Metacritic that doesn't have that verification that someone has actually played the game at all and knows what they're talking about. And yeah, it is a very useless metric. Very useless metric. Tony has appeared. I can't remember. Oh, we were laughing at how bad Tony is at Armored Core 6, weren't we? Because he hasn't finished it yet and everybody else has. Poor Tony. You love Armored Core games, but there's no timeline where Armored Core games will win Game of the Year. Well, now I feel like we're bullying Tony. I didn't mean to read those things so close together, Tony. I'm sure Armored Core 6 is lovely, and you're really good at it, honest Gov. To be honest and fair, Starfield was always a long project. You doubt many will find this game in the same state in a few years, especially once I get my mods on it. Anyone who gave Starfield a perfect score is not to be trusted. Perfect scores, but that comes back to the question that I asked at the start, Jizza. Like, how do you formulate a score on a review? Is it just a gut feeling? Because the idea of a perfect game that has no flaws, like there are none of those, that will never be a thing. Like, that can't be a thing. That's not how art works. There will always be people that don't like certain things about certain things. we have no good like analytical structure for composing reviews for games. That doesn't exist and would be a very, very difficult thing to come up with, because games cover such a massive spectrum of style and content and size and budget and scope. It's very, very difficult. I always use Death's Door as the example. I don't really know why. It'll be very difficult to review Hades against Starfield in any fair way, because they're just not remotely similar. And to come up with a way to critically analyze those two games side by side and rate them with a score, it makes little sense. But what do you do? Do you think that scores, like by default, if a game just doesn't have lots of bugs, does it deserve a high score? Should you be starting high and removing points for everything that it does wrong? Should you be like just throwing points everywhere for things that it does right? I always have there's this weird scenario where you have a game like I don't know, let's say Returnal. So say you really enjoy Returnal and you've given it like a 9 out of 10 or whatever. It's very much hypothetical, so substitute Returnal with any single player game that you like, but it's a really good single player game and you've given it a 9 out of 10. If you add a really, really bad multiplayer mode to that game, should its score be reduced? So it's a 9 out of 10 single player game, but it's also got a multiplayer mode, and the multiplayer mode is like terrible. Worst multiplayer game you've played for ages. Servers keep disconnecting, everything's really unbalanced, and it's just not fun in any way whatsoever. Does it lose points because you've added flaws? What would be the correct way to approach that? And then you have to, and I'm asking this because it makes you kind of reevaluate what a flaw means in a game and how it should apply to a review score. Because in that case, that multiplayer mode has taken nothing away from your 9 out of 10 game, but it is terrible, so how could it be 9 out of 10? So do you then start docking points for things that are done badly and like diminishing the credit that you had given the good parts of that game? Because that's kind of what you're doing there, Jizzaloop, with Starfield. You're saying it can't be perfect, but it could have so much stuff that warrants a really, really high score. Perfect is a funny word, but you could have enough in there that warrants a 10 out of 10. And then there could be some bad things as well. But they don't take away the good things, right? Like a bad multiplayer mode wouldn't take away a good single player. A bad bit of, like, I don't know, planetary exploration wouldn't take away the good things in Starfield. So it's weird to consider objectively how you score games and what those numbers mean and what they should mean. According to Phil, the goal of a good game is to achieve its vision. In the case of Starfield, it's an exploration game. No, you can't decide what its vision is on their behalf. You'd have to, the only people that can tell you if it's achieved its vision or not are the people that had that vision. So, and you're never going to extract that from them. But if you were to go to Todd and say, is this the game that you hoped it would be, or have you made too many compromises? Like, he's the only person that could really come out and tell you whether it's achieved its vision or not. And obviously he's also got a vested interest in saying yes, so you'll never get that answer. There'd be different categories to score games. Yes, so a lot of old reviews, Baz, they used to divide things down into like graphics, sound, longevity, playability, multiplayer, and things like that. But even with a system like that, if a game's not supposed to have longevity, it's not supposed to have it. Does that mean it can't score well? If a game's like not supposed to have really high fidelity graphics, does that mean it's not a good game anymore? If it doesn't have multiplayer at all? Like, categories is very difficult as well. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, but it's a very different world to the one that we live in. Because this is why I mentioned, how would you review Hades against Starfield? If you try and categorize it and measure it on like quantifiable metrics like that, then suddenly they don't stack up with similar scores. But it's not the way that games are reviewed, so it's a difficult thing. Again, I said at the start that there's some topics that I revisit because I can't get to an answer. I can't reconcile them for myself. So they're recurring topics, and they probably always will be, because I don't think that there are correct answers. Which means I'll inevitably fall back on it some other day, some other time. Oh shit, it's 11 o'clock. Did we do the topics? I had Space Marine and Mario Wonder down, but I don't think I want to do those today. So there was a little section in the middle of the show to disregard. One other thing that I wanted to say on the influencers and credibility thing. So when I was reiterating earlier, I'm not necessarily against these people making their decision to accept this free stuff. Also need to point out that it is just like, games is a fun thing for most people. People covering it are covering games because they like them, and if they want their free shit because they like their free shit, totally understand their perspective in taking that. It's not serious. They're not like taking bribes that are going to influence the lives of other people in a significant way. It's all games and it's all fun, which is why I say, like, you don't have to trust the opinions of those people, but you don't have to hate them either. It's just, I like some of the stuff that they get. My throat hurts. Let's do Nintendo left it at 45-minute video, even though it's only 15 minutes. What, they left their stream running for half an hour too long? Who would do that? I might do. Over 1,000 planets. You can go anywhere in this galaxy. Oh, so that's fine. You can go to all of those planets, can't you? Just have to select them in a menu or whatever. All good. Mario Direct could have been a commercial. That's what they are, Tony, isn't it? Wonder does look nice. Okay, let's have a look at Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder being a 2D... So, it's obviously a 2D Mario game. It's not made by the premier Mario studio. I don't actually know off the top of my head how Mario do their studio names. But it's not made by the studio that did Mario Odyssey and Galaxy and all the mainline 3D ones. Mario Wonder... typing fail. Is this the one? Nintendo North America 7 hours ago. Nintendo are pricks, so they'll probably strike the whole thing for this. Here is Mario Wonder. It is a 4-player Mario game. It has Mario in it. It has Luigi in it. It has Peach in it. It has Toadstool. It has whatever this guy is with the ice cone head. It has low resolution landscapes and low poly blimps. Has a map like the old Mario games. Is it going to be really good? Who likes 2D platform games? And what are the best ones? Because I saw a conversation around Rayman Legends has hit some anniversary, and there was a little conversation around that. I really liked Rayman Legends, and that was post 2D console era. Like, it came out when 3D platformers were a thing, but it was not one of those. I don't like 3D platformers, that's not a secret. America comes out in this trailer. Okay. What about how many people play the game and put hours in? Wait a minute. You hope someone does something. Wait, let me scroll over here. Isla has a large hammer. Green Sonic something. Wayne. Jizzaloop, IGN US rated Forspoken a 6.2. So a 7 is biased, you wouldn't trust their review much. What if they just happen to like Forspoken? Forspoken had some things that were okay about it. I'm assuming different reviewers as well and all of that kind of jazz, right? I haven't... I don't know. Like IGN or IGN, I don't have no strong feelings. This is a Mario game. It looks like a Mario game. It looks okay. I've not got a lot to say about it. I'm showing it for you. You have to tell me if Mario looks brilliant to you. I've lost the chat and got confused. They didn't get interested in Fortnite. What are you talking about, Tony? What are you talking about? Yes, Isla is correct. Don't fight in chat. Kore Sepron, there's a name I haven't seen. Sorry, I missed you when you appeared. Welcome, welcome. Hello, space friends. How you all doing? We are all, apart from Jizza, we are all very much looking forward to going into space. So it is a good day in that regard. Forspoken was a buggy mess. Forspoken definitely had performance issues. I don't know how much it had in the way of bugs. I played a little bit of Forspoken. It definitely has an overly sparse world, but I quite like some of the movement in it. And when it gets going and you get into its boss fights, at that point, on my PC at least, it starts to look quite pretty. But horrible voice acting, horrible characters, very sparse, like sparsely populated, empty, dead world. So we're back. Wait a minute, did we drop? Hang about. I apologize for whatever stopped. I was just saying how amazing Forspoken was, probably. The best Mario Kart, the best Mario is Mario 64. Every other entry is vastly inferior. Spriggan, no. Strong disagree. The worst Mario was Mario 64. Every Mario game post Mario 64, apart from possibly like this one or any other 2D ones, were also terrible. But when Mario was a 2D platformer, it was okay. Not as good as Sonic, but it was okay. 3D platformers suck. And that's it. Is that strictly true? Like, Psychonauts was good. I like Psychonauts. Quite like Cameo as well. Maybe I'm like a secret Xbox fanboy. That'll teach you, mean guy that said I hate Xbox. I don't like 2D. I don't like 3D platformers. I don't like Mario 64. I don't like Mario as a character. None of this is a secret. Mario should have died at the end of the previous century. Should not exist anymore. Is not real to me. And Mario 64 was horrible. It was a horrible game to play. Go and play it now and tell me it's not horrible. This is the thing. If you play it now, you'll probably recognize this is nasty to control. And perspective is horrible in 3D. Areas like are so glaringly bright and empty that they hurt your eyes. Everything is like really sparse and boring. And you'll go, oh yeah, all of those things are true. I don't know why I liked it when it came out. Asa was so far ahead of the game. He knew that this game was actually shite. Now we can all go back and recognize it. You can go back and play Mario Bros. 3 on the Super Nintendo and you'll be like, wow, this is a really good game still. This holds up. I'm having fun. It's responsive. It's snappy. The levels are quite entertaining. Go back to Mario 64 and you won't get that same feeling. Try it. Vector Man was better than Sonic. I don't know about that. Vector Man was interesting. Vector Man came out very late in the game for the Mega Drive. He could shoot stuff. I called the best game ever made the worst Mario. Yeah, probably. There might be worse Marios, but they're 3D ones. The 2D ones are all better. You don't still play Mario 64. I don't believe you. You're just being confrontational for no reason. Nobody still plays Mario because it's not fun. Like Mario 64. Ugh, gross. If you can shave Mario's balls, then you play it. Oh, Baz, we've all got... Yeah. I don't know what to do with that. Don't know what to do with that. Super Mombo Quest is a fun platformer. Just a bit short. Not heard of it. I've not played loads of 2D games, to be fair. One thing that I'm not a massive fan of is Metroidvania as a design philosophy. And those two are largely conflated now, more so than they used to be. Most games that are 2D these days end up being either roguelike or Metroidvania or both. And I'm not a fan. The last really good 2D platformer that I can remember very clearly, Ori was really good, but it was Metroidvania and I didn't finish it. Last one I actually played to completion was Rayman Legends, which I liked an awful lot. And if any of you haven't played Rayman Legends and you are remotely interested in 2D platformers, that's the one that I would suggest going and playing. That's genuinely like a brilliant game. Well, I jumped to Marvel's Midnight Suns on GeForce Now. Alex, I don't own it, so I cannot. And if I did... I mean, I don't like ultra-wide. Some people do. I think Replicant and Tony are big fans of the ultra-wide. I don't like ultra-wide. Can we do the questions? Yes, let's move on to the questions. Let's not move on to another tangent and story, because no, questions are now. This show is not supposed to be this long, which is why there's been some bits in the middle where I'm like, disregard this bit, I don't know what I was talking about. Let's get to the questions, wrap this up, and everyone can go and play some games and have some sleep and do whatever you want to do. Should have died of AIDS after being with Donkey Kong. Not sure about that, Baz Crypt Keeper, but definitely character should have been left in the previous century. If you can even call him a character. I'm reluctant to call Mario a character, because he's not really. Thought it was 12 a.m. No, 12 a.m. is like bedtime when I try and end the game streams. This show, like, nobody wants to see me talk for 3 hours. That's an accident when that happens. This is supposed to be a nice tidy, like, 90 minutes or so. Never really works out that way, but it's supposed to be. We will meet again in Starfield. There's no meeting people in Starfield right now. Speedruns are cool. No, Lila, you didn't want more topics. We're not doing more topics. 90 minutes, yeah. It used to be, there were some times where it was like quite difficult to get through this long, but there's more people now and you all say so much stuff that it's hard to keep up. Right, first question is from Kiop901. I didn't see your name elsewhere. Thank you for the question. Thank you for coming by if you're still here. Is Starfield's story and gameplay good? I haven't played it. I've heard mixed things. IGN didn't like the gameplay. They said that it gets better as you go through, but they didn't initially like it. But who trusts IGN? Ooh. Story-wise, I've seen Gene Parker said that it's Bethesda's best story. Typically, though, you don't really play Bethesda games for the mainline story, so it doesn't matter. As long as the universe is good and the side content and emergent gameplay is well fleshed out, don't think you'll need to worry too much about the quality of the story. But like I say, I haven't played it, so I can't tell you for sure on either of those things until after I have done so. Next question. A new Jet Force Gemini. I never played Jet Force Gemini, but it sounded fun. It's got a fun name. Like, it implies that the game is fun. Your stream was back in time because of that freeze that it had. Well, hopefully you've caught up now. Barry the Zalamin, can your old laptop run Baldur's Gate 3? I did pick that up in chat and answer it at the time. Yes, I believe it can. I'm not an expert on the minimum spec for that game, but you've got enough memory and a decent enough card. I would think that would be fine. Next question. My brain is also back in time and forward in time all at once. It's really hard to concentrate because I'm all over the place. Gene, Matty and Cog all agreed that the main story was the best that Bethesda has done on Defining Duke today. That's good. Good. I must confess, I don't typically finish Bethesda games, so it's going to be a hard one for me to make any comparisons. I start them and get very much into the side content. I think I'd probably finished Oblivion before I got the expansion that killed my Xboxes, but typically I don't follow it through to the end. I've not even finished Skyrim, and I play Skyrim quite a lot. I do intend to finish that one day. Next question, let me read it. Danny Passion Official, Digital Foundry Tech Review was very positive. What are my thoughts? Danny Passion Official, I've not seen it. I've not seen it, so I don't know. When you say very positive, you mean like in that it's performing really well, or that it's actually specifically impressive? It's a difficult one for me to answer without seeing what they've said. Jizzaloop, well, I apologize to Hideo Kojima for disrespecting Metal Gear Solid 5. I am not sure that I disrespected Metal Gear Solid 5, so I don't think I'll apologize. I mean, it sounds like something that I would do, but I don't remember saying anything specifically about Metal Gear Solid 5. Because it's a stealth game, but I haven't played it. You're right, you've played Skyrim for years and still finding new stuff. Yeah, it's at a point on Skyrim where I don't have a clue what was already in there and what's been modded now. I've got a lot going on because I play Skyrim in VR. Just wander and do all kinds of nonsense. There's a moment, like one of my most memorable moments in Skyrim was in a VR playthrough where I looked onto the horizon. There was a lake and there was like a hot tub and there was what looked to be a quite densely populated naked pool party. And I was like, why is there a naked pool party in that hot tub in the ocean? That seems unusual as content. I'm going to go check it out. And I was walking over and then a dragon flew overhead and set them all on fire. And I got stuck in a fight with a dragon for like 25 minutes. It went on for freaking ages because it was a healthy dragon. And I hadn't recorded it and I was devastated because it was just such a funny moment of like random emergent gameplay that I don't think is supposed to be part of the game. And that's what Bethesda games are to me. They're just like, yeah, it's got a story, but you just go places and see things and stuff happens and it's always interesting and well built. So that's all I want from Starfield. I don't know, story can be good or bad, and I'm going to go exploring and find all kinds of things to do, I hope. Story is what you make of it. Yeah, the world is what you make of it. That's the, like, so long as the world building is good and everything feels consistent and right, then I'm happy in those kind of games. Because that's a rare thing. It's a rare thing to have well-built worlds and universes to explore. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. What's my game of the year so far? Don't know. Can't remember what's come out this year. I'll come back to that one. That'll be a recurring question, I'm sure. What have I enjoyed this year? Someone tell me what I've enjoyed this year, because you lot probably know. I'm sure I've spoken about it already at some point. Next question, please. Don't forget questions. Yeah, I know. I'm distracted again. Hundreds to complete the story. I don't think Starfield's story takes hundreds of hours to complete if you choose to follow it through. Oblivion definitely didn't take any time to complete the story if you wanted to follow it through. Fucking housemate hiding pan lids in a toast rack you didn't even know existed. Well, then that housemate has done you a favour, because you've now got a whole new toast rack, effectively. Now you just need to find enough toast to keep it stocked. And that's going to be awkward, because toast does not stay hot for very long. Episode 13. Am I genuinely excited for Starfield? You assume that I don't mind a bit of Bethesda jank, as I spent half my life in VR Skyrim. I'm genuinely excited for Starfield, yes. I think I'm going to do a clean, actually play the story, pancake playthrough. And then I'm probably maybe gonna... I don't know if I'm going to do much side stuff or if I'm going to put it down and wait for a VR mod. I'm very much hoping for a VR mod. Starfield can't supplant Skyrim for me without a VR mod, but it can be a very good pancake game, and I am genuinely, yes, very much looking forward to playing it. I'm very much looking forward to playing Red Dead Redemption 2 if I can ever get that bastard to work. Like, there's old games that are still very high on my list of things to enjoy. I'm very much enjoying Baldur's Gate 3. That's a brilliant game. So there's a lot of excitement around games for me all the time. Starfield definitely gets included in that list of things that I'm excited about. I spent the most time on, I don't bloody know. I really enjoyed Horizon Forbidden West, but that didn't come out this year. And Cyberpunk, but that didn't come out this year. I lose track of time. I don't know what came out this year. It's not just side quests, episode 13 in those games though, because there's like side quests in the traditional sense that games have side quests where you go to a board or a person, they give you an instruction and you follow that instruction and maybe you get a nice little story spun out of it. Those are fine, but Bethesda games also have like the emergent stuff. So it's not a side quest, you just go and do shit. You're like, I'm not going to walk to the next planet because that's not how space works. But in Skyrim, you'd be like, I'm going to walk to the next encampment village or whatever. Like Starfield, I'm going to jump around and do some space exploration, I guess. And stuff just happens that's interesting. You just bump into weird people with weird stories that you weren't expecting and weren't necessarily targeting. So I like that about them. Next question. Play just main quest? Nah, I'm not gonna play just main quests. Can't. Have I tried Amazon Luna? So Replicant, I haven't. Amazon Luna only came to the UK a few months ago. I thought about it, but the spec sheet for it is not impressive. It's a 1080p 60 stereo sound, quite basic thing. I thought about using it for like the Jackbox, whatever it is, party game things for streaming and stuff, but it offers me nothing as a streaming platform. Alex, tell you the truth, am I upset for not getting an early access? What, for Starfield? I did not apply for early access to Starfield. And I'm not upset about not getting it, no. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm not a reviewer. When I was saying earlier about, like, there's reviewers who review things and have a process in place, and then there's people who just want free shit and pump out a review saying they love you. I would be the latter. If they gave me Starfield, it would be like, yeah, I got free shit and I'm going to pump out a positive review, and that I don't want to be. If I was a person that regularly reviewed stuff and had a critical process, then I probably would have asked for it so that I could put that content together and put that work in. But reviews as work is a really difficult thing. The amount of, like, I have an awful lot of respect for the people that do that properly, because it takes an awful lot of time to properly review a game and very little like return or reward. So I'm not a free stuff person. I will cling on to my credibility for as long as I can. So upset that I cried, posted on Twitter, the dying app. No, I'm not upset. It makes me uncomfortable getting free stuff and getting early stuff and getting special access and all that kind of thing, because I'm not a reviewer, so it wouldn't be right. Did I see the confirmation of Baldur's Gate 3 DLC has been confirmed? I didn't. I don't need DLC for that game yet. I have got a lot still to do. I'm still right at the start of the game, barely surviving, but it's good that there's more content coming. If you only play main quests, it'll be like playing boring Spider-Man without... No, Wayne. Spider-Man's brilliant. Stop trying to upset other console people. I'm really looking forward to Spider-Man 2 as well. The first Spider-Man game is the best Spider-Man movie, and I'm not saying that as a criticism. I know people might levy the movie thing as a criticism against it. Spider-Man did have terrible side content, I'll give you that, but it's a brilliant game. And Spider-Man 2 probably will as well. Replicant, how long until the nude Starfield mods appear? I'll be surprised if they're not there by tomorrow, Replicant, at least the first ones. It'll be soon. It'll be soon. I've heard conflicting things actually though, because say Pete Hines said that mods are coming to the PC and the Xbox soon, but I'd also heard that the creation kit is available day one, which implies that mods are available day one. Nudie mods, they'll be there straight away. Do I like McDonald's, or what's my favourite fast food place? Whoa, I do like McDonald's. I do. I am a man of poor taste, and McDonald's is delicious. You remember pre-ordering Elder Scrolls Online? What a letdown. It did some things nicely and some things not. Walked a line between MMO and Elder Scrolls and didn't quite nail either aspect, but... Spider-Man 2, lol, don't you mean Spider-Man new DLC? No, Wayne, I mean Spider-Man 2. It looks awesome. And it will be awesome. I am looking forward to it. You need to, like, drop your console allegiance. Have you played the first Spider-Man game? It has stealth in it, and I still really like it. That's how good Spider-Man is, and that should say a lot. There's already bigger breast mods for Baldur's Gate, but they clip through the clothing and armor. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. But you're doing it wrong if you're wearing clothing and armor. I actually tried that in the last time I was playing. I put the monk class, secondary class, on one of my characters, and it said that they get really, like, their wisdom counts as armor if you get them naked, but I had a real dilemma on not knowing how naked they had to be. It says you have to take the armor off, and I'm like, do I need to remove the pants? The shoes? How naked are we talking? And then I just got one hit and died. So we dropped the naked tank plan and carried on with our struggles. You're going to create your character exactly like me. Wow. That's something we can all look forward to, Tony. Play Metal Gear Solid 5. If I don't like it, you'll super chat me $250. That's absurd. I don't like stealth games, Jizzaloop. I don't like stealth games. So, rescind that. I live in a village or a city? I live in a village. It's not a big village. It has some ducks. Ducks are annoying. You play Spider-Man and Miles. So you must have liked it a bit, or you wouldn't have bothered with Miles. There you go. So you like them both. Apart from the chasing pigeons and all of that nonsense. And the 3-star challenges that are spread around everywhere. I don't like 3-star challenges. Insomniac did promise that they've made improvements to their side quests. We shall see. Did I see this question? Yes, we've done this question. Next question, please. I need to tell you loudly. Yeah. Miles is better as a game. So Miles has the benefit of being more responsive and more recent. So it's quite difficult to go back to Spider-Man from Miles, in that the gameplay is snappier in Miles. But I don't think that made Miles better overall, because Spider-Man was brilliant. I really like Miles, and Miles made it a little bit difficult to go back. Favorite film? Oh, Peter, I don't know. I like The Matrix. I like Terminator 2. I like Lord of the Rings as a trilogy, not one film at a time. I like a little unknown Jet Li film called Kiss of the Dragon. That's always fun to watch. And I like probably some classier films as well, but not really. Miles was DLC. Of course it was episode 13, but that's fair to say. It was a standalone expansion, they called it, right? It was overpriced as a standalone expansion. But yeah, you can call that DLC if you want. Short Circuit 1 and 2. I'm not on there with the Short Circuit. I vaguely remember them, but not well enough to call them my favourite films. I remember the little rhyme. I'd kick your balls into outer space. Got ya. Miles was repetitive. Miles was a lot shorter though, wasn't it, to be? And the side quests, there were less of them, so they were a bit less annoying. You want to move from Canada to the UK? Any tips that you can give me? Whoa, no, don't do that. Canada sounds much nicer. I don't know why you would want to do that. Wouldn't you be better off? I know your connection, you said, wasn't very good, but there must be other parts of Canada to go to rather than the UK. People from the UK, would you recommend coming here from Canada? Replicant, what are my thoughts about FSR 3 now that it has been revealed? I fully expect it to be wank. I have no faith in AMD's ability to chase the technology that Nvidia lays down, and that's what FSR 3 is. I'm like, oh, we'd best try and do that too, but without the good stuff to make it work well. So there's always the usual talk about how particularly on the Xbox side, they get carried away over there. I've seen videos about how FSR 3 is going to make everything 3 times faster on Xbox. And you know, Replicant, as well as I do, like FSR 3 is going to do very, very little in the console space. Even when it does work on PC, it's probably going to be a bit shite. It's probably going to be a horrible blurry mess, and or have horrible input latency. So very little faith in FSR 3. And I'll be glad to be wrong if it turns out to be like a piece of magic, but Unlikely. You want to live next to Gaz. In that case, Alex, my recommendation for you would be... What would you need if you actually had to live next to Gaz? What would you need to survive that particular scenario? He's mostly harmless. You'll be all right. Thick walls. Yes, thick walls. But you'll be all right. Everyone you know who left the UK for Canada are still there 20 years later. Yeah, I know one couple that left. They properly went to Canada as well. They left the UK and they went to like a log cabin. They built a log cabin somewhere in the mountains in Canada and like played around in the snow with a moose or something. I don't know. Properly went over there and they loved it, and I've never seen them again. So, Kurai, you want to move to Canada from the UK? Should you bring a few extra fire extinguishers? Yeah, I guess the snow and the moose isn't really so relevant if it's all on fire, is it? Starfield Early Access exists in 1 hour 27 minutes. Holy let's hurry up. Do I live far from Gaz? Like between hour and a half away. So not that far. Canada stole your best friend. You might be making the wrong move there, Alex. Most people seem to prefer Canada at the moment, although it could just be grass is greener. Everyone prefers the country they don't live in. Tony, Nintendo Power Glove turned white from all the use. Secretly, he loves them. I never had a Nintendo Power Glove, Tony. And I have nothing to add to your comment. Thank you for the question. I guess it's not really. Thank you for the statement. Speculative as it was. Yeah, I told you, hello, I don't like where you live. You need to go to Canada. Don't go to Canada. Next question, please. Dennis, thank you very much for coming by again. I will see you. I saw you in the chat on Saturday as well, so I'll catch you on Saturday or next week or whenever you are about. Much appreciated. Kurai Sepron, what's my opinion on what we currently know about the shipbuilding that Starfield has to offer? Kurai, I've not been watching. I've been trying to avoid most content around it. I don't know what to expect of the shipbuilding, really. Like how flexible it will be, how phallic you'll be able to make your ship, which is surely everybody's target. And how much it will impact the space combat and dogfighting, as well as obviously you can explore the innards of it as well. And I don't know how much you can customize the innards of it. So I'm not a big building and crafts person, so that side of the game isn't massively like up my street, really. I'll probably be fairly impatient, stick a load of parts together and fly and some hideous Tetris piece of a starship into combat until it gets blown up, as long as I've got some... Yes, Tom, I'm sorry it is, but mine's going to be a Tetris piece with guns, and that'll do. That'll do. If it flies, it flies. Function over form is right. That's how I am likely to approach it, unless I can like instantly see something really funny to make. Mario. No, Tony. Mario is dead, or should be. You expect there's going to be a pre-built mod ship to... Oh, knob ship, sorry. When the modders start adding ship parts, it's going to get nasty, I would say. Alex, is it cheap to live in the village? Why don't I move to the city? It's not cheap to live in the village because the village is fairly close to London. So in the UK, you've got very expensive London and all the rings around it. As you get progressively further out, they get cheaper. I'm not in the realms of the very cheap. So no benefits in terms of price to being in a village rather than a city, but I don't like crowds particularly. I actually really dislike going to London. I've had to work in London a fair amount in my life and I just don't like it there. I have never grown accustomed to like the amount of homeless people on the streets of London. People that live there say, oh, you get used to it, but I always find it just a horrible place to go. Too busy and too sad. Not for me. Next question, please. Some people love London. I'm usually against the majority when I say I really don't like it, but I really don't like London. You used to live and work in London. You're just happy. Yeah, happy visiting. I don't even like visiting if I can help it, but especially not like most of my visits to London were for work, to be fair. Like, it's not a nice place to go. Would I recommend building a PC with a £2,000 budget? Wow, Baz, that's difficult. If you've got £2,000 kicking around that you want to invest into gaming hardware, then yeah, build a PC. But if you're considering whether to get yourself a PC or a family holiday or something, then that's more difficult for me to advise on. PCs are cool. I like them a lot. You get a lot of flexibility. You can make them do whatever you want. Save enough money for a VR headset and you're golden. Come back, Baz, if you have more specific questions. Like I say, I try not to follow PC hardware very closely, but if you have specific questions about whether a particular bit of hardware is worthwhile or not, then by all means shoot me a message and I will try and help. I do try and help, and I will tell you if I don't have a clue. Peter, you lived in London for 8 years. You enjoyed it, but not again. Kurai, you spent 3 weeks in London and netted about £4,000 from being hired to deal with key extractions and re-entry for landlords and stuff when someone locks themselves inside. Key extraction. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes, there is definitely money to be had there. Episode 13, you're in Bath. I know Bath. I've been there loads of times. Do you say Bath? I can't even do accents. I stayed at I was still doing work there at the university in Bath for like multiple weeks. Yes, it is a nice city, as cities go. Tony, I rejected your offer to pay you. Tony, I can't build you a PC. You're far away and they don't travel well. And also, building PCs is easy. You don't need me to do it for you. You've got one and you're having a great time with it. Failing at Armored Core 6 because it's too hard for you. Lockpicking started out as a hobby, but if you get good enough at it, it's a pretty nice side hustle. Yeah, I imagine so. I imagine so. Not to mention all the burglary that you can get away with, right? Side hustle on side hustle. Next question, please. Can't wait to build it, just need the money to do it. Cool. Yeah, they are a good time. Next question, please. Brighton is always way busy and you've been there a million times, so it's not that interesting to you. Yeah, Brighton's not always busy all over, but parts of it sure are. Bleh. Bleh. No, you can't do that episode 13 because grass is the other one. Grass and grass. People say grass differently all over as well. You need to find some like universally agreed upon word that rhymes. Peter Morland, did you do a member thing that I didn't see? It says, Tony, you sick bastard. I have nothing to add. Next question, please. Is Bath posh? Posh doesn't rhyme with Bath. And I don't know if I don't know the posh pronunciation for Bath. This is going to confuse me forever. Right. Kurai asks, am I looking forward to Easter egg hunting in Starfield? They've got a lot of room to hide stuff like that. I am usually oblivious to Easter eggs like that. You'd think that I would recognize all kinds of things, but my pop culture brain fades away and I just play. It depends. Easter eggs are a weird one because I don't always like them. I don't like cross promotions in games like that. Starfield is like the thing that I'm most looking forward to is the fact that it should be a well fleshed out, well built world. So Easter eggs need to be handled well. I'll be quite disappointed if I can't even think of a good example, but I don't like it when you have like an MMO RPG like Final Fantasy 14 was like, now we've got a Nier Automata raid for the week, and that kind of crossover is like, well, sure, but you've just destroyed your own world in a really weird way. I don't want Starfield to have Easter eggs that are like, that's ruined it a bit. But subtle ones that fit within the world, them's just fine. Yeah, things like a notched pickaxe, no problem at all. And I think Bethesda know what they're doing with their world, so I think they'll treat it with the utmost respect and not suddenly stick a weird reference to Redfall in there or something like that. Episode 13, we're not still on that topic, you're okay. You just keep living there in peace and comfort. You'd like to find a random block of Minecraft dirt in Starfield, but not like actually a cube, right? That would be weird. If you wouldn't want a cube that looks like it belongs in Minecraft. I don't know. I don't know how perturbed I would be like that. It's not the same as a clearly money-driven weird cross-promotion. Like, nice Easter eggs are probably going to come across as nice Easter eggs, and I'll accept those. You do want to see that texture. Fair enough. A block bauble for your ship inside. Yeah, maybe that kind of thing is not too bad. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Easter eggs aren't a thing I'm particularly looking forward to, though. Like, in terms of stuff I'm excited about in Starfield, hunting Easter eggs is not there. They might be nice to see if I stumble on them. Or I might get irrationally upset. I don't know, time will tell. Oh, we ran out of questions. And yes, everyone can play Starfield. Well, not everyone, but if you want to, if you are so inclined to spend money on it, you can play Starfield in just over an hour. I'm not going to be playing it in just over an hour because mornings are mornings, so I can't. But I will be playing it in the evening tomorrow. And I will stream the start of it, which might be a really boring stream because I'll probably spend like 2 hours of it making a character and figuring stuff out. But if you want to see the opening to the game, you're very welcome to come along for that. And if you don't want to see it, that's fine as well. I would understand that. How's that ghost mug? It's still pretty spooky, like, if I'm being honest. Like, I've been keeping an eye on it. It's not moved. But, you know, it's got that haunting kind of energy around it. I'll let you know if I survive with that being there or not. Please don't make an awful character. No promises. And if you are referring to Buttercup Squiggins, he is not an awful character. He's an awesome character. I'm really pleased with my bard. What speed internet do I have and how much am I paying? My internet's not very good. I live in a little village. Boba Fett, welcome. You've got right at the end of the show. We're just wrapping up and closing off. I have a motor mouth. My internet speed is 80. Well, it's not 80. It's 70 down and 20 up. Which is meh. It's kind of typical in most places in the UK that don't have good fibre. But I would very much appreciate a better connection, particularly on the upload side of things, because then I could do everything in 4K and have wonderful times for everybody. Alex, you sound like you're seriously like considering moving to the UK. It's like, welcome if you do, but it seems like a terrible idea. On both connections, pizza, in theory on both connections, they're both technically the same, but one of them is actually worse than the other. I've got one that works out being about 50 down because some of the wiring in the house is a bit shitty. So, upload build up does take it a bit. Wait. Download all over the place. What are you saying, Tony? That speaks sense. Upload build up does take a bit for Asa, but once he hits download, it's all over the place. What? Tony. Wait, he looks woeful. Who looks woeful? Ah! Is it? Ah, it's probably me. Okay, let's end. Let's end. We have reached the end of the show. Thank you everybody for coming along. People that are there now, people that were there earlier, people that watch it afterwards. If you have any more questions that got missed or follow up on any of the stuff, leave them in a comment. I will grab them and talk to them next week. Nobody ever actually leaves questions in the comments. That's fine. I stream too often, so everyone just talks to me live as we go, and that is fine and works for me as well. Almost hit 12. I do ramble too. There's been whole sections of like 10 minutes where I've gone, what am I even talking about? What am I even talking about? None of this made sense. And I just hope that you had something else to do during those 10 minutes and none of you noticed. Gloss over it smoothly, move along, go and have a lovely sleep, and see you tomorrow, Saturday, whenever it may be. So have good evenings, have good gaming sessions, enjoy Starfield if you're playing it, enjoy the other games if you're playing those. And I will see you soon. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody. Rambling is terrible. I'm not going to ramble.